background music for this one. Should have background music. One second. Okay. So this has been discussed for a while. People have known about this for quite a number of months, some people for over a year. It's not going to be a surprise to most people in the community, this. This is quite serious allegations against one of the top Gen 3 players in the Smogon community. And I want to say these are preliminary findings and nothing is guaranteed, but at the same time the initial results here are really, really bad. So what do I mean by this? I mean, we pretty much split players up into different levels of suspicion behind the scenes. So by default, of course, everyone is innocent, and we of course believe everyone. And the vast majority of players obviously fall into that category and are never questioned. And nothing about them ever really stands out. Then there are some players where there is a certain degree of suspicion regarding some of what they do, but we almost never name names publicly when it comes to those. So those are names you will not hear about unless you are either a moderator or you have extensive DM history with a lot of players. Then there's players where there's a bit more reason to doubt, there would be enough reason to actually question them publicly, but it's still very initial. It's nothing guaranteed at all. And then there are some players where we basically cannot explain their results. Their results don't make sense. This last one is quite a lot rarer. It's definitely the one that the player we're going to talk about today falls into. Definitely players in this category have something to answer for, I think. The exact nature of that is still being discussed, but I'm going to put a few things forward. And then the final category, of course, is confirmed cases. So these are players who have admitted to cheating or have, through their actions, basically admitted to cheating. That would be someone like Santana or a few banned users on the forums. So if this was the final category, I might cover it on the main channel, and maybe that will still happen, but for now this is not completely confirmed, and it's because we need some more testing. But there's a big problem with the leaderboards having cheated records. So we go down to Tower. We're going to mainly be talking about Tower today. So the first issue with players cheating is that it's a competition, and it ruins competition for others. You know, if I cheated a 5,000 run and I unseated a DDD, that wouldn't be fair. It's unfair on a DDD. It's also unfair on everyone else who wants to compete in Battle Tower. You know, I am destroying the competitive integrity of the tower, and I'm destroying the competitive fun of the tower by cheating like that. But another really, really big reason why people shouldn't cheat and the leaderboard shouldn't have cheaters is that people use this leaderboard for stuff. So a lot of people, if they want to know how to beat or do really well in the tower, you know, by default, they're going to come here and look at the top record. And they're going to, you know, maybe they'll copy a DDD team, maybe they'll copy one of the other teams. And that makes a lot of sense. And also, if someone asks for help on Battle Tower singles, and the person responding doesn't have thousands of games played, because most people don't, the person responding is probably going to say, oh, well, you know, you could come over here and use one of these teams. You know, you could play open level as well, you know, level 50 or open level. You know, which is fine. But of course, if we're going to present the public leaderboard in that way, we have to be pretty damn sure that we're not giving people teams that don't work at all. And that might sound like an exaggeration, but I promise it's not. So this is, of course, this is not a discussion at all about a DDD. This is one of the most played teams in every generation. I think at least 10 people have played this theme. This theme works. It is slow, but it definitely works. We have very high confidence in this team being a really good team. Maybe not perfect, but really good. It can lose, but it's really, really good. A DDD getting 3,000 wins, I've said it before. We're not suspicious of that. That is definitely possible for the team. Definitely possible. And we also know that DDD is a good player. But, you know, outside of discussing who's a good and bad player, it's really important that the leaderboard reflects teams that actually work when you use them and when new players use them. This isn't a very new player friendly team, but still, whatever. So we're not talking about a DDD. We're talking about there's two main pseudonyms, I guess. So Komo'o, or whatever, is his name on the forums. Most people know him as Jellal. You'll see him called Jellal often in the forums and in Discord and so on. I think his YouTube channel is also called Jellal. And it's really Jellal that we're looking at today. Now, this is very serious as well, because Jellal is not just a random player. Jellal was basically running Gen 3 for years. The thread leader right now is Valentino, of course, but before Valentino it was Jellal for many years. And that meant Jellal was essentially head moderator. You can replace thread leader with head moderator. Like, every decision went through Jellal on who to add and who not to add. So this isn't just a random player. This is, you know, this is very serious, because if we question Jellal's integrity, we're questioning a lot of other things that have impacted the leaderboard as well, like who got added and who didn't over the years. There have been players who've been banned by Jellal, for example, who probably should not have been banned. So we're going to start off with the most suspicious Jellal streak by far. And again, this won't come as a shock to anyone familiar with the Frontier scene, which is this streak. It's the Latias Registeel Gyarados streak, 1,664. This is by far the most suspicious thing, I think, by a long way. We need a little bit of context on this first. So let's talk about, this is Generation 3. Let's talk about Generation 4 quickly. This is not gonna show up properly. There we go. So this is the Gen 4 team that Peteco made popular. This Gen 4 team is fairly straightforward to use. You essentially use Trick and cripple the enemy, and then you set up one of your sweepers. You can either set up Registeel or Garchomp. And there are variations of this team, like, you know, you could replace Latias with something else with Trick. You could replace Garchomp with a worse Pokemon like Salamence. It'd be pretty hard to replace Registeel, but maybe you could do it. This is a pretty good team. You know, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So if I jump across to, I'll put it in the background. I'll put a bit of footage of this is me playing the team yesterday. So the real question about Generation 4 Trick is, can it work in Generation 3? Like, can we run this same team in Generation 3, essentially? Which is a good question, because obviously Peteco's streak is very strong. A lot of people have proven over the years that this is a good team. You can work Generation 4 Trick teams really well. So the real question is, does it work in Generation 3? And this is essentially, you know, I'm not just making this up. This is pretty much what Jellal aimed to answer himself. So this is what Jellal came up with. This is the streak in question. How do I wasn't expecting this to be such a problem with Poker Paste. So this is the team that Jellal came up with. Essentially, at a high level, we're trying to work a very similar thing, where we've got a Latias lead, we've got Registeel, and we've got another Pokemon. In this case, it's Gyarados, but honestly, Gyarados versus Garchomp is not actually the important difference here. So we're trying to cripple enemy leads with Latias, and then we're going to set up with Registeel or Gyarados, or maybe both. And of course, you know, you would say that by Generation 4 standards, you know, this team in Generation 4 gets thousands of wins. So by Generation 4 standards, maybe Trick teams can do really well in Gen 3 as well. That seems like a reasonable assumption to make. The real question is, does it work? So let's jump into his post. We're gonna first take Jellal at his word and not question anything yet. So he talks a bit. This is where he first wrote about the team. He did say that it's inspired by Peterco's trick set, just like we've said. Some of the people helped him figuring out. It is very difficult to play this team, to understand this team without playing it, though. So, you know, we're not judging people who believe the streak to be real, but you know, that's a certain part of it. So he talks about a different team that a user called Core played. He was trying to find variations that worked. A lot of things don't work very well. He probably found that he needed Intimidate. He probably needed some more support. And he probably was deciding on what the best way to go with Registeel is, because there are quite a few things on the Gen 4 team that don't exist in Gen 3. So then he worked at this. So this is Latias pretty much launched Peterco's success from Gen 4 DP records. So even though we're not getting into criticism quite yet, I'm immediately going to say this is not true. So the most important thing about Generation 4 trick teams is the move trick. Basically, by using trick and a choice scarf, you lock the enemy into using only a single move for the rest of the match. Unless you trick back or, you know, they use fling or something. In Generation 3, Latias doesn't learn trick. So this isn't like a dumb moment. It literally doesn't learn trick. There are trick teams in Generation 3 that do trick choice band, but this isn't one of them. They sorted. This isn't one of them. So already it's a very strange... It's very strange to compare this to the Gen 4 version, where basically Gen 4 version, I don't know how often you click trick, even though I've played lots of games, like maybe 80-90% of the time you click trick and you win off trick. Because obviously, you know, we're Latias, we use trick, we trick them into, you know, a move like Ice Beam or Dragon Claw, and then we can go to Registeel and try and set up or try and PP stall. It is also worth saying that in Generation 3, setting up versus Struggle is much easier, because in Generation 3, Struggle doesn't deal 25% recoil damage of your own HP. It just does regular recoil in terms of how much damage you deal. So enemy using Struggle dies incredibly slowly, essentially. So Jellal says that, you know, it's not quite as good, which is, I think, a bit of an understatement. We'll come back to that. So you want to use Thunder Wave, and you want to try and use Charm on physical attackers and Flash on special attackers. The first version of this team didn't actually run Flash, it ran Mud Slap. You might say, why run Mud Slap over Flash? But in Generation 3, Flash has 70% accuracy, not 100%. And Mud Slap is perfectly accurate, so that's quite a big reason already. And it also runs Recover. This isn't too weird that the team that Peterco originally ran in Gen 4 did also run Recover. And we've got Lumberry. Lumberry is nice to have on lead, but, you know, we're not choice locking. We've got a few defensive calcs here. I'm going to be very critical now and say that listing stuff like this, it just means you poked around a bit in the calc. It doesn't prove anything at all about how well the team works. Anyway, so Jellal then ran a Registeel. Registeel is essentially very, very similar to the Generation 4 version. There's no Iron Head in Gen 3, but you can run Hidden Power Steel, which is slightly weaker, but honestly it's fine. It doesn't make contact. Registeel is not the suspicious part about this team. The way Registeel works essentially is that you want to boost up your defenses very fast, use Substitute, and then stay behind Substitute as much as possible while sweeping with Hidden Power. But Registeel also works quite well as just the method of removing PP from enemies. So you PP stall with Registeel and then maybe you set up something else. So once again, we've got some calcs, but these don't actually prove anything. It just means that we've been poking around. The exact EV spread on Registeel is something I don't agree with, but we're not going to focus on that for now. Again, it's not a very big deal. Then there's the Gyarados set. So there's a few issues with Gyarados. One of the biggest ones is that we're not using Trick. So any single enemy with an electric move is going to be able to click it against Gyarados. That sounds obvious, but the Gen 4 version of this team wouldn't run into that problem. You might think Registeel can switch into electric, and it kind of can. Like, it's okay. It's not great, though. Registeel doesn't want to be taking a load of powerful electric moves. It's going to faint eventually. The biggest problem, though, with this is that we do not have room for Substitute. And that's a really, really big deal, because without substitute up, essentially anytime a quick claw user comes in, you're at risk of dying, and it means if you don't kill them in one shot, you are also at risk of dying. It also means if you miss the enemy due to an item like Bright Powder, you are then also at risk of dying. So this Gyarados is a very fragile sweeper without the presence of substitute. It does have rest instead, and I will say I think it is probably correct to run it like this. You kind of need 2 moves to be able to safely sweep most teams. But the nature of this is it's never actually going to be completely safe. We also can't run Lumberry on Gyarados as well because of item clause. So Latias takes Lumberry, which I think is correct, and Gyarados is left with Chesto Berry. Of course, Registeel has leftovers. So I already have some serious questions about this. Another problem with Gyarados is that we start out slow, which most of the time isn't a problem, but Latias can't always use Thunder Wave, either because the enemy might be Lumberry themselves, or the enemy might be a ground type. And whenever Gyarados is slower, particularly on turn 1, you are at risk of a lot of things. You're at risk of being flinched, for example. You know, an Aerodactyl that's not T-Waved yet can flinch Gyarados, for example. The Intimidate is nice, and this is less about Gyarados being bad and more about the whole team not really working. So he's got a bit of a description here about how it works. We're not going to go too deep into that. And then he has a little bit of a threat list. So what's weird about Jellal's threat list is he's actually wrong. He's actually wrong about a lot of things. A lot of things in this threat list. So Clear Body is fine. We'll come back to Metagross later, particularly Meteor Mash Metagross. But Clear Body is fine. That is a big issue. If you can't lower the stats of the enemy, the only thing you can basically do against some of these Pokemon is go for Thunder Wave. You can't flash them, you can't charm them, and you can't lock them into a single move. So an enemy Pokemon with, for example, a Rock and a Ground move provides a problem for Registeel and Gyarados. You can swap between them to try and PP stall, but of course Registeel can take direct damage there. I think Dugtrio will be the fastest ground. Speaking of ground types, Rhydon is definitely also a problem. In general, any ground type denies Thunder Wave, and Thunder Wave is quite a big part of how you find time to set up. Particularly a ground type where they do too much damage to Registeel, which is most of the Earthquaking ones. Gyarados can attempt to set up against something like that, but you know, Gyarados can sit on a -6 attack Rock Slide just fine until Rock Slide crits. And you have no protection against a crit because you have no substitute, and we'll see this in action a bit later on as well. So he also mentions Manectric. Manectric is kind of whatever. Walrein is also pretty much whatever. Wobbuffet isn't really the worst lead you can face. I think there are much, much worse leads than this. The really baffling part about this write-up, though, he wrote this when he was several hundred games into the streak, is Urswing Set 6. So anyone unfamiliar, Urswing Set 6 is Freddy Fazbeam, basically. It's the Hyper Beam Urswing. Urswing Set 6 is not threatening at all because all you have to do is substitute until it uses up all of its Hyper Beam PP. Once it's used up all 5 Hyper Beams, it can't do anything at all to you. It's a completely free setup for either Gyarados or Registeel. Completely up to your choosing what you want to set up. But this is a bizarre thing just labeled as a threat because this is completely free. Suicune 1 and 2 are also completely free. Suicune 1 can't beat Registeel without, like, 6 Surf crits or something. And you can deny the Carmine setup by just damaging it a bit. And Suicune Set 2 is the most baffling one because Suicune Set 2 just loses to Gyarados. Suicune Set 2 is the toxic one with Dive and Protect. But Gyarados has Rest, so you just never lose to that. Is a really... Even if Gyarados didn't have Rest, you could just PP stall the Toxics. I really don't know why he mentions this. Like, they could get Evasion boost, yeah, but, Gyarados has to miss every single attack after setting up. So, yeah, Poker Paste. So he wrote that. That's fine. He updated here, where he got to 700. He has a few videos we'll cover later on. He doesn't really add anything here. Something I want to highlight about this write-up, and Jellal is allowed to get away with it because Jellal was, both trusted in the community and then became Fred leader, is that, there's 600 games, this is what you write, 700 games. This is a bit of a longer one, but it's not really that long. Like, we're just talking about EVs here. We're talking about how Dragon Dance is important throughout speed. We're talking about, we're basically copying Betago's team here. We're not writing very much. Then we update again. Again, there's not much information here, really. Much later, so it's over 1,000 games in. He did replace Mudge Up with Flash, which is something we mentioned earlier. This isn't my biggest criticism of the team, though. I do think Flash is better, but it's not a huge deal. He updates Registeel's EVs. Again, EVs are overhyped in terms of how important they are, almost always. You're basically moving around slight chances to kill and slight chances to be killed. That's it. Most streaks don't enter them. So still winning. Still winning. And then he did lose. So a really obvious question, I guess, is that, we want to defend, we want to think about both sides of the debate here. Doesn't a cheater never lose? And that, a cheater never loses until they want to. I'm going to talk a bit later about how bad this team actually is. But I do want to point out that at the time of this post, this was the world record by a long shot. So if I jump back here, back when this record was done, the only two previous big streaks were this one, which was done by Jellal himself, and this one by a DDD, where he got just over 1k in a different category. So I don't think it's suspicious that you claim a true loss. I don't think it's suspicious that this team lost at a bit over 1,500 wins. He says he's a bit upset about not reaching 1792, which is tower overflow. But I really think this is emotional manipulation, particularly saying, like, what was it back here? He praised a DDD. I mean, if he did cheat, this disgusts me, honestly. So he did lose. He lost to Clear Body. This is another hallmark of I don't want to. This is gonna sound really weird. A lot of legit streaks lose to something a bit random. It is actually quite unlikely that you lose to your biggest threat. He did lose to his biggest threat. It's the kind of thing where if you're going to lose in style in a way that doesn't draw attention, you choose to lose to your biggest threat anyway. So I want to go over some of his over some of his write-ups. I'm going to jump back to the threat section. So I said before that this threat write-up is quite bad. The biggest issue first up is just no trick. So no trick is, obviously, let's say the enemy has Thunderbolt and Ice Beam. That's not rare. They're going to use Ice Beam against Latias. So if you can lock them into Ice Beam, then you can switch to Registeel or maybe even Gyarados and set up while they're using Ice Beam instead of Thunderbolt. And Gyarados might be able to rest loop that, Registeel might be able to sit behind a sub to avoid being frozen, and then once they're out of PP you can set up and win. But an Ice Beam Thunderbolt user, a Bolt Beam user against this team, they use Ice Beam against Latias, they can be Thunder Wave maybe and they can be Flash, but once you've switched, they're going to switch moves. So if you switch to Gyarados, they're going to start using Thunderbolt. This is why the team is incredibly suspicious. Basically, it's the lack of trick is a very, very big deal. And 1,600 wins is a massive, massive streak. There are some other problems as well. So the biggest consequence of trick really is setup users. So in Generation 4, if you face an enemy with a move like Swords Dance or Calm Mind or Dragon Dance, it's often actually a completely free win because you trick them into that move. They're stuck on that move. You set up on them. They're just sitting there doing nothing, and then you just kill them and sweep their team. In Generation 3, it's basically the complete opposite, where if you face a Calm Mind enemy with this team, you cannot do anything except Thunder Wave and Flash. You're just sitting there like a duck. There's no protection. Hopefully they don't have Quick Claw. If they don't have the Quick Claw, probably what you have to do is sack Latias using Flash and then Thunder Wave and so on. And then when you fainted, go to Registeel and try and PP stall the remaining PP on their moves. Against a weaker setup Pokemon like Suicune 1, the Suicune 1 isn't a bad Pokemon, it just doesn't hit incredibly hard. You could do this, but there were some much more deadly setup enemies in the tower, and there's also, you know, Dragon Dance, there's Sword Stance. Several Sword Stance users actually have evasion items, or they can have Quick Claw. There's a lot of nonsense that can happen. Yeah, exactly. This is another big one. So the boss of... Where is it? I don't know if I can bother to bring it up. So the boss of the tower is Annabelle. You fight Annabelle every 35 games, including after you beat the Goldprint fight. She keeps appearing. And Annabelle's first Pokemon is a Carmine Raikou. So, Carmine Raikou is like, again, you can beat it. You can beat it with this team, because you can like paralyze it and flash it. But it's extremely scary. If it sits on Carmine for a while and it gets a crit on Latias and you can't recover through that, you know, you're in huge trouble. You're probably going to have to kill it straight away. Maybe you can attempt to use Substitute, it depends on the PP situation, but Raikou is very scary. It's a very scary fight against Annabelle. Annabelle is also very important, because if you just kill Raikou without any kind of setup, what Annabelle is going to do then is she's either going to send in a Cursed Snorlax or a Carmine Latios. Raikou 6 is not, no. It's the same as Factory Elixir, the same Pokemon that don't exist in level 100 Factory don't exist in level 50 Factory. I mean, Tower. It's the same in the whole Frontier. So yeah, setup Pokemon, big issue. Another big problem is, back when this team ran Mudslap can occasionally trigger Switch AI. Now, you don't trigger Switch AI very often, because Latias is very fast, and you do often lead out with Thunder Wave. But there are Pokemon with Quick Claw, obviously. And if you Mudslap after they Quick Claw you, and they've got a Pokemon in the back that is, you know, Levitate or immune to Mudslap, and they've got a super effective move against Latias, they're going to switch. And it is a disaster, because the worst thing that could happen against these teams is that the enemy Pokemon disappears. You spent all this time crippling the enemy, reducing their accuracy, reducing their attack, whatever, and then they just switch out. It's very rare to happen if you don't attack. But if you do use Mudslap or something, you do leave yourself open to that. And I have seen Mudslap trigger Switch AI myself. Replace it with Flash, obviously that improves it a bit. We've got to remember that the first 1,000 games of this team were played with Mudslap and not Flash. Flash does help, but Flash has got a 30% chance of missing, which is also very, very scary. Another problem that Jellal would have had is that Jellal doesn't... This streak was not played with AI knowledge. So, for example, Roar and Whirlwind are essentially going to have to be treated as random. In Generation 3, it's not too tricky to PP stall all Roar and Whirlwind users. But if you're going to try and set up, you've got to be very careful about that. You want to be careful about Gyarados' Chesto Berry if you do that. And if you do it wrong, or you try and rush it, it can end very poorly. So, you know, Roar and Whirlwind users, you're probably looking at a 80 to 100 turn match. Now, it's fine if Jellal plays like that, and I'm going to show you in a second whether or not Jellal actually does do that against Roar and Whirlwind. Another big one is Metagross 4. So, Jellal mentions Metagross. Now, Metagross 4 is traditionally very scary. Factory players will know what I mean here. I'm actually going to show what you're meant to do against Metagross 4, because the way that Jellal describes it is not ideal. Right, I'm going to go this. Let's go here. That's weird, why isn't it fitting to the screen? Bruh, where's... Oh! That's it behind. Okay, that's fine. Why is it the wrong size, though? One second. It is a different layout in OBS. I was like, what went wrong here? It kind of matters because I kind of care about the text on the bottom screen. Oh, what is wrong with this? Yeah, we're loading save state. Right, it's fine. This isn't going to surprise the factory crew. But I'm just explaining that something like Metagross 4 is actually not a threat. You need to do stuff like this, though. I'm going to play this on fast forward. You definitely want to paralyze it. You want to try and get healthy, and then you've got this combination where you take Psychic, and then we go between these two. And the main aim is to just get rid of Earthquake. Once Earthquake is out of PP, it's very, very unlikely it's going to get enough crits in a row against Registeel. So this team, like, when you fully maximize this team, it's not too bad. Get rid of the Earthquakes. If you really, really care, you could set up Gyarados. I think it's fine to go for the Registeel, though. I'm going to be a little bit careful of Mash. Essentially, the main thing about Metagross, particularly Metagross with Mash, is you don't want it to use Mash. You want it to get rid of all of its Earthquake PP before it can get attack boosts. If you do that, you're incredibly likely to win. If you don't do that, which basically means staying with Latias, and it gets a few attack boosts against Latias, then suddenly it's very scary, even if you go for the switch stall line, just because of how much damage Gyarados and Registeel will take. It's also bad if the PP gets desynced between those two, it can go very badly wrong. So this is Raikou causing annoyance again. There are a lot of situations where you do have to set up again with this team. No ISO Lexi. Yeah, a lot of these games are not fast, but they are pretty safe. On the topic of Metagross, another huge problem, of course, is Explosion. So Explosion is similar to the Switch issue. If an enemy Pokemon uses Explosion, they do a huge amount of damage to Latias. It might kill it. A lot of Explosion users will use Explosion randomly because Explosion is their strongest move. Not Explosion, Earthquake is their strongest move, and therefore they get scored down on other moves, and they prefer to use Explosion. And that's part of the Levitate bug. Annabelle Gold, something. Another big one is Snorlax 8. So Snorlax 8 is the Belly Drum set. That's an absolute nightmare because you can't just use Charm against it. A lot of the Swords Dance sets, if they don't have Bright Powder or something, you can just Charm them because you can Charm for 32 turns as they only have 30 PP on Swords Dance. Wulwane 4 is quite a big problem, to be honest. Skarm 3 you don't really want to face. Lapras 7 and 8 are the Oko sets. It's Jellal. Jellal is being investigated. It's Komoro on the forums. Quick Claw in general I think is a very big issue. There's also things like we can bring in issues for the Gen 4 team. So one of the biggest issues in Gen 4 is that Registeel gets crit, loses its substitute, and then it gets crit again. So even after you set up, because Registeel is so slow, if something with Earthquake comes in and just crits Earthquake into sub, and then crits Earthquake again, obviously it's going to be faster in Registeel. You can't react with a sub. Registeel just faints, and you might have needed Registeel to win that game. You might have sacrificed Latias to set up Registeel properly. A lot of these are very big issues with Registeel sweeping. Another really big one is Lumberry enemies, which you want to Thunder Wave. For example, the enemy Latis with Lumberry. Those are a big problem, because if turn 1 is Thunder Wave and they cure it with Lumberry, and then they just hit you, you're not getting enough cripple there. You're going to be in trouble. And it's not like you can just not Thunder Wave, of course, because several of these enemies, you basically have to Thunder Wave them. I think certainly the Latios would be in that category. You'd want to do everything you can to prevent, like, Latios 2, for example. You don't want to give it, like, free reign to pick whatever moves it wants. Trapping moves is another big one. So it's not just Wobbuffet, it's also moves like Block from Steelix. It sounds like a meme, but Latias is forced to stay in against those enemies. You're forced to just waste a tremendous amount of PP. I'd say ground types in general are an issue because they can't be Thunder Waved. Electabuzz 3 is a menace. That's the Ice Punch set. And there's also... I would also say Marowak is a bit of a menace. So the issue with Marowak is that the Icy Wind set is going to want to use Icy Wind against Latias, and it can behave tremendously randomly, once again, because it wants to use Earthquake, but it understands that it does no damage. So, becoming slower than Latias... Sorry, just imagine this, an enemy with Sword Stance that becomes faster than Latias, and then can use a move like Rock Slide to flinch, and if Latias faints, it might use Sword Stance. So a lot of these are really bad, to be honest. Anyway, all of this can be offset. What I'm basically doing is I'm presenting the case that you need to play this team really well, or it has severe issues. This is something that stood out to me. Something that stood out to me, it was really weird. This is a YouTube comment of one of his videos where he talks about you want to get Rhydon to -4. Yes, Selan. In one of his videos, he talked about getting Rhydon to -4, and this is a big deal, but at -4, Rhydon does break the Registeel substitute. Like, we know this from Gen 4 as well. It's a very big deal, actually, that you do want to get it to -4, or you want to get yourself to +6. Those are equivalent, because then it doesn't break the sub. If this wasn't true, Rhydon would be a big issue, but you have to get it to -6 and not -4. This is a really... You might think this is nitpicking, but this is a really weird thing to get wrong, because this is one of the most important interactions on the whole team. Another thing I'm going to say is that, like, Jellal is not a random... you know, this guy was Fred leader, and if he is telling the truth about his streaks, he has thousands and thousands of games played. And also, a lot of people, I tell you behind the scenes, a lot of people suspect this streak already. And the main reason why they think it might be real is because they think he must be a good player. So we're going to have a look at some of Jellal being a good player. This is one of the... Again, another thing. These are all videos that Jellal himself uploaded. Like, no one made him upload this. This is purely voluntary. And we can assume that if he had a really stupid game, he wouldn't want to upload it because, you know, that might expose something. So these games should be biased towards making him look good. So I don't really like opening with Thunder Wave against Lapras because of Lumberry Lapras being a really big threat. But, you know, he does it, which is whatever. I don't think it's correct. So we're just going to stay in. I was curious on what... There is quite a few situations with this team where it's like... We've crippled this Lapras a bit. Lapras is probably not killing Registeel, for example. Do we want to stay in against it as it uses Ice Beam? Because Latias can feint to a crit. Do we want to try and waste some of its PP in order to protect Registeel slightly? Or do we rather go Registeel first and take the risk of Registeel? There's not a correct answer to this. I'm just noting that it's interesting that it seems to be what he prefers to do. It seems like we're using Latias as much as possible. We're using Recover PP as much as possible. Recovering here is fine, by the way. It's likely to be paralyzed or get a few misses because of the Mud Slaps. So this is fine. So at this point, pretty damn sure you're going to get the setup. Go for the Intimidate on Body Slam, which is completely fine as well. So we use Substitute, use Amnesia. I'm just going to skip forward slightly because this is why this game is so peculiar. So at this point, as a reminder, this Registeel is... Let me just check that this is paused, actually. This Registeel is Amnesia and Curse. So there's absolutely no reason to not fully boost, and there's no reason to not be behind a Substitute. And you definitely want to try and remain in that case for as long as possible. And there, Roar is revealed, so I'm guessing that he doesn't know much about Lapras 2. We do stay in. We're definitely risking being roared. The reason why it's a big deal is that you can run out of Curse PP. Curse is only 16 PP if you PP max it. You can't do this multiple times against a Roar user. So staying against Roar is just very, very strange. It's free damage pretty much to that, but he does get the raw misses. Gardevoir comes in. Now, we know we're going to one-shot. Last Pokemon comes out, Gengar. I really think once you know it's Bright Powder, you should be substituting here because you know that Sub's going to break on Registeel. So really, really big skill on using Registeel is because you're slower than enemies, you need to know what is the turn I'm going to lose a substitute so that I can cover that off with substitute. And it's fine to be slightly wrong about this because if you use substitute and the move doesn't break the sub, you've wasted 1 PP, it's not a big deal. But if they break the sub and you don't re-sub, then suddenly you risk being crit or paralyzed or whatever. So we use Hidden Power again here. Because it's Bright Powder, if we'd missed that and Registeel gets crit or paralyzed or whatever, suddenly we can lose that. So it's fully riskless to go for the substitute and he doesn't do it. Again, it might sound like nitpicking, but it's not. This is another one. These are all videos from his YouTube channel, to be clear. To protect, we still want the Thunder Wave, I think. Totally fine. This is back when he had Mud Slap, so you can't use Flash there anyway. We go Registeel, which is also completely fine. You could also say there's a bit of skill in this as well. Is it better to Amnesia first or Substitute first? Generally, I would say Substitute first. You just want to avoid being frozen. That is probably the most likely way to lose. So we go for Substitute first, which I think is completely fine. We want to get the Amnesias up. Going for Curse second is a bit weird. Again, we're not using the second Amnesia. Goes Protect, that's fine, that's a third Curse. That's the fourth Curse. Ice Beam, no crit, it's fine. If it crits into Freeze, that happens, you can't protect against that. But then we just attack. like what is this? What is this? Why aren't we fully setting up against Articuno? We used Amnesia once. Why didn't we fully set up to +6 attack? You could Tarkan, yeah. There are several good teams. This is really weird. Like, why aren't we fully setting up against Articuno? It's not like this is a free win because this is a legendary trainer. So Suicune comes in, yeah. And now we're not fully set up and we have to continue setting up. And this is a Calm Mind Suicune. It's like what is going on? Again, we shouldn't lose a Suicune 1, for example. This is Suicune 2, probably. No, it's Suicune 1. It's Suicune 1. We shouldn't lose to it, but it's like, why are we giving it time? Why aren't we using Amnesia? Why didn't we set up against Articuno? It's just really, really, really weird. It is a big deal, I think. Like, why aren't we setting up? Does this... Because when I watch this, I'm like, well, if he's doing this on a game that he is showing off on his YouTube channel, surely he's doing it on other games as well. Like, we're just not fully setting up Registeel. You don't have to always fully set up Registeel, because sometimes you can't. Like, that's fine. But, you know, it's just baffling. I would say, actually, probably, maybe the best thing to do in this game is, because Latias is still alive, you probably want to PP stall Articuno and set up Gyarados. Go up to +6. But it's like, suddenly we didn't fully set up, and like suddenly we're in against Suicune, and we've let it Calm Mind a few times, and like, you know, it could crit on the next turn, for example. Suddenly we're low. Like, why are we risking all this? You know, we could run out of Hidden Power here. Our Hidden Power PP situation should have been completely fine. But, you know, instead we wasted this extra time. We gave Suicune several turns to use Double Team. It's going to use Rest next turn. We do hit the back-to-back, but it survives. It uses Rest again. We're wasting more PP on Hidden Power. We're not setting Substitute back up. It's like he's never really played the team much. Like, that's a very nice crit, definitely. But it's not enough to kill. Like, honestly, I think at this point, like, once you've used up that hidden power PP, I think it's very clear what you should do. What you should do is just use Amnesia, waste turns, let Suicune waste all of its PP on Surf, and then set up with Gyarados. Once again, I think that's the best way of continuing this. This is Jellal. The 1664 streak. And then Zapdos comes in last. You know, again, we're not you're never that likely to lose. You're never likely to lose a Battle Tower game. Like, even against bad matchups, it's like, you're probably at least 80% to win, for example. It's like, now Zapdos is getting Thunderbolts in. This game could have just been over. He's actually run out of PP, hasn't he? Like, there's no protection from being crit multiple times by T-Bot here. Obviously, if Zapdos goes through Registeel and Zapdos can, you know, drill peck Latias, I don't remember Latias' exact HP amount, then Zapdos versus Gyarados is a disaster. So it's just going to Thunderbolt it. So, you know, there are consequences to playing badly, and this match actually highlights them. I'm not going to force us to watch the end of it, of course. It's likely to be fine, as long as it doesn't get crit too much. This is another one. Again, all of these are uploaded to his own YouTube. I added these a number of days ago. I don't actually remember what all of them are. I'll remember when I see. It's Gengar. It must be an Ice Punch, is that right? For it to be highlighted. Yeah. So Slumberry Ice Punch, you know, it's fine. A lot of these enemies you really, really want to fund away because you really want Registeel to be faster than them. We're using Recover once again. We're slightly risking the crit from the Ice Punch. I think it's completely fine. The lack of Flash is making me think that this is once again a Mud Slap team variant. So there's the crit. You know, you can't complain about being crit when you're just sitting there doing nothing. No back-to-back crit. You know, Latias is very bulky. You can appreciate that this wouldn't always work, but it's not bad to go for it. There's another crit. Again, you can't complain about that. Psychic comes through, so it's out of Ice Punches, obviously. Or the use Psychic when it was low. I was not watching properly. There you go. Proof that you can't just mindlessly watch this team. This is a freeze, but we have Lumberry for situations like that. So it eventually does crit Latias. This is fine. What you need to do at this point is definitely just wait out the Fire Punch PP. Like, it's very basic. All you have to do is not use Curse, because you're faster. So getting hit by Fire Punch, it's fine. All we have to do is not use Curse. If we use Curse and we become slower than Gengar, then Gengar can Fire Punch, break the sub, and then on the following turn, it can Fire Punch and either crit or burn. And that's the end of Registeel. No, it is boring. It is very boring to waste all of the Fire Punch PP, but you should definitely do it here. Because once it's out of Fire Punch, the risk of losing is basically zero. But instead of that, Jellal does start going for Curse, and this is a really, really, really bad idea. You'll see here, Gengar is now faster than us. We are responding to it because we got to -2. So if Gengar crits the sub and we don't use sub, we could just get burned or crit. We reset the sub, but it can still crit. Every single time Registeel doesn't use the move sub is a time that we could have been exposed to the Fire Punch, crit, or burn. It's just really, really poor play. This is like, again, Gengar should be a free win. Basically a free win. By using Curse before it's out of Fire Punch, you somehow actually risk a way of losing. It's really, really poor play. You know, would this matter on a, like, if your streak was beneath 100, I don't think it would matter. I'd be like, okay, whatever. You know, you can risk that if you want. You know, if someone was playing in Factory as well, I'd be like, okay, well, it's Factory, so maybe you're unfamiliar with the team, or maybe it's also a small streak in Factory, but this is a team that he's played for thousands of games. He should know. Pretty sure that was it. These matches are not exciting, but I just want to prove that we're not playing properly. Lead out of Mud Slap against Entei? Okay. I don't fully understand why not Thunder Wave. It's fine. Entei's only used... Okay, there's Calm Mind. So again, this is what I was talking about, where Calm Mind and enemies, like, they can be annoying. Like, Entei is unlikely to get through Latias, even with Calm Mind, just because it doesn't do enough damage itself, and it can be denied full HP for Calm Mind spam. But this is, you know, it's scary. If Entei gets several special attack boosts and Latias faints, that is very scary, because Registeel and Gyarados won't be able to hold that in. The only real response to that is probably just going to be go straight to Gyarados and either use Dragon Dance into Earthquake or just Earthquake immediately. And then you're just playing a 2v2 without Latias. Anyway, so we go to Gyarados. I think that's fine. Flamethrower. We decide to set up early, which I don't hate. Got a few accuracy drops. We've danced twice. It's just really weird. So here comes Latios. We did want to switch. We do not want to get hit by a potential Thunderbolt. Remember, there are Quick Claw Latios sets, there are Focus Band sets. Latios 2 and 3. It is a Thunderbolt one. It's Ice Beam. It's scary. There goes Lum. At least it didn't crit the Ice Beam. Again, we're going to try and stall it. It is very dangerous to do this because that is Quick Claw. Yeah, because it moved before Latias 4. So that was a Quick Claw Ice Beam. Latias goes down. Because we know it's Quick Claw, we know it's Latios 2, which means it's the Earthquake set, which means it's going to use Earthquake here. So we should really definitely switch to Gyarados at least once to get it to -1 attack. And instead we just substitute, get a bit lucky on the Paralyze. Again, Amnesia means that he is unaware, he is definitely unaware that this is an Earthquake set. Because if you know it's Earthquake, you would curse there. And Amnesia again, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, we are horribly exposed to being Earthquake crit. Until we've got sub up and we've got some curses through. And there comes through the curse. So, you know, it works out against Latios. But this was extremely scary and it was not played correctly. Like, I also think it's fine to, like, okay, maybe he slightly misplayed against Entei and should have used Thunder Wave on turn 2. It's not a very big deal because Jellal should know that Entei is very unlikely to kill the streak. But once Quick Claw Latios kills Latias, you know, that's an emergency scenario. You know, you do not want to misplay at all after that happens because that is very dangerous. I also, like, honestly, back here, right? We definitely want to Thunder Wave it. I think that's fine. I feel like you switch here. Like, why are we losing Latias for no reason? Because one thing we can do is we can switch to Registeel on Ice Beam, and we can switch back to Latias on Earthquake, and then we can keep doing that until it's out of Ice Beam / Earthquake. I mean, he's Fred Leader. He knows about all the resources that exist. There is no excuse for misplaying. Getting a streak above 1,000 is incredibly difficult, even with a very, very good team. It's just, yeah, this is just poorly played. It's not good. What's this? Why is Golduck a highlight? It's been a while since I watched this. I don't remember. I mean, I definitely would have used Recover earlier, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't like, if Latias faints here, it doesn't... Of course, we could have kept it alive, but it's like, it's not a big deal if Latias faints, because we are still, like, 95% to win, at least. We're doing some chip... The other problem with Mudslap is that Mudslap does a bit too much damage. Sounds really silly, but if you get a few crits in a row... Okay, so we're going Registeel, that's fine. Definitely want to lead off with Amnesia. Okay, well... It's not a big deal. I think it's like how you decided that up with Registeel. I'm going to give him a pass for that. I would have started off with Amnesia, definitely. It's removed its stat decreases, but it's going to get stuck on that move. Because it's generation 3. Because its speed is lowered, it copied the curse drop. It's going to keep using Psych Up. It's just the way that Psych Up is coded in this game. Did we fully set up? Like, that was obviously going to break, right? Don't you just always substitute against second one Gramble? Because you can just PB stall the choice band set. Wait, which enemy was this again? The triathlete. I think you definitely just stay on sub here because of overheat. He's going to get overheated, isn't he? Like, why didn't we fully set up against this? Why are we using Curse here? Why aren't we using Sub? Crit comes through, of course. Yeah, maybe he's afraid of Psych Up PP, but like it's not doing any damage. Psych Up is 10, like he's got more than 10 turns. Because it didn't start doing that until he was at +3. And it was paralyzed and he wasn't. This is really poorly played. This is really, really poorly played. I'm not even sure what I think about attacking. I mean, it's probably fine. Okay, it's Victory Bell last, so he does win, obviously. What's this? Oh, this is probably evidence of him misplaying his Metagross. Let's mash. You definitely want to switch, I think. Okay. Like, I think if you run it out of Earthquakes, even if it does kill Registeel doing that, I think it's worth it overall. And we rest after we do damage and then it explodes. You cannot complain about that. It's way more likely to explode after doing damage. Like, it's tricky to play against unknown Metagross. It's definitely not correct to do what he just did. I mean, Synchronize doesn't matter. It is Lum. It's a trick band. There's some irony in that. I mean, I would switch. He did it a bit late, but it's not a big deal. Let's get to this. Oh, this was his loss. Yes. So he lost the Clear Body Regirock. I mean, it is a massive threat. Like, you can't do anything against this except Thunderwave it. And then hope that Registeel wins the Curse War. It's been a while since I've seen this, actually. It's pretty lucky to get the Paralyzed in the first one. We also... yeah, I don't know. Is there a correct number of curses? It's tricky because Jellal won't know the way the AI behaves, so it's like it's a bit not fair to judge him on not knowing that on the +3 and +4 barriers. What you can't do here is you can't switch to Gyarados. It is a really bad situation, I think. I think what you actually do is you just don't use Substitute. You just use Curse. And then whenever you decide it's time to rip the hidden power, you don't change from that move. You just stick with it. So you just use Curse and then you just attack. Like, obviously... okay, so he goes out and shows some calcs, whatever. Got another full Paralyze. I don't like Substitute. I really, really don't like Substitute. I think we either need to be damaging it or using Curse. Because you've got to think, how do we lose this? We lose this by being crit, or by just getting unlucky or messing up ourselves. Substitute doesn't prevent those losses, because if Substitute gets crit, you've just lost HP for no reason on net. Maybe Shiny, yeah, maybe. So obviously, like, it's cursed brinkmanship. It's like a game of chicken, right? It's too late for both Registeel and Regirock are too heavily boosted. Whichever one wins this 1v1 is likely to win the whole game. He hasn't used Amnesia, at least. Does he really lose this? Like, I think maybe I would have said Curse to +4, maybe +5. It depends on the paralyzed luck. Yeah, there is no protection against being haxed here. I don't like that. Yeah, I think you needed to. I think you want to get as many attacks in as possible to try and crit it. Cancel the allegations. Anyway, obviously it's not paralyzed anymore. I have not. The thing is, I'm not playing, so I have not been counting earthquakes. I don't think it's really viable to PP stall them anyway, right? Like, you either sub, and you sub completely to get rid of PP, or you attack and you do not sub. Because by using sub and just getting your substitute get hit, you're just losing PP. You're just losing HP. You definitely want to attack or fully commit to the sub line. By doing this, we've just lost HP. Like, if we hadn't substituted, we'd be back up above 100 now. We'd be at, we'd be up here. Like, that's just that's a straight up stupid sub, right? It's just a misplay. He does actually live on 4. I might go back and watch this again and count the earthquakes. Because it is quite a big deal if Regirock was about to run out. Yeah, anyway. We've got no amnesia boosts here, so... not much can be done. It's a bit unlucky to get Quick Clawed on that first turn. Like, Quick Claw Latties are annoying. And after Thunderbolt alone, you don't know its item, and then it Quick Claws there, and... You know, if Gyarados had Substitute, you could win from here. Because you can probably find time to get the dance in. It's fine to dance, by the way. You can't just attack. I think it's... If you just attack, I think it's a bit like conceding. Yeah, well... Yeah, exactly. Like, if it's out... I don't know. I think there was also opportunity, like, around... There was an opportunity to probably get Gyarados to rest loop this. This was winnable. I don't want to dedicate too much... This was misplayed, though. This was definitely misplayed. It's fine to misplay your loss, of course, because a lot of people do that, but... You know, we're looking for evidence that Jellal is a considerably better player than most people, and that explains the streak. Which one's this? Yeah, drill sucks. Hold on, let me count the drills, actually. I do think you spam charm. I think you probably want to get a Ack drop in after one charm, but it's not a big deal. Oh, I don't know about using Curse. I think I would just be using Substitute here. I don't know. It's tricky, isn't it? We live this because of the Curse boost. Like, maybe one Curse is fine. I think after one Curse, I would definitely go back to just using Sub. Like, I think you just stay behind a Sub until it uses the last Horn Drill. Ooh, No, 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 please. It's so scary if one of these earthquakes crits. Like, Reggie is completely exposed. I would only be using substitute here. There's a crit, but that one was one that he was like half expecting. This isn't too bad. I mean, this isn't properly played, but it's not too bad. He's playing this better than most noobs would. Yeah. Okay. I definitely highlighted that to show poor execution on substitute, but that's fine, I think, or whatever. That's far from the worst game. I was wondering where it went. He switched earlier. I don't really understand his plan for Entei. Like, once you know it's a potential setup Entei, don't you just want to go Gyarados? Then you switch now. Thunderwave is fine. I think Thunderwave and 1 mod sub is fine. Like, wouldn't you go now, though? I don't really get it. Like, maybe we're saving a bit of HP. But if it's Calm Mind, you're so scared, right? The thing you're scared of is the Calm Mind boosts. Getting its Act drops is not actually a very big deal. And we're attacking very soon as well. And then we... Like, okay, Earthquake missed, but why do we go for another Dragon Dance? You should commit to a number of Dragon Dances you feel is correct, and then just attack. Getting a lot of misses, okay. A lot of misses. We rest before we go too low. I think that's fine. What are the most vetted leaderboards? Well, honestly, if there's not live footage of the team being played, I wouldn't trust it too much. But this streak is particularly bad. Like, I really, really think it's fake. So we hit the Earthquake. Okay, and we're just going to Earthquake this, yeah. I mean, we are risking being Quick Claw, but, you know, that's just the nature of this team. It doesn't have substitute on Gyarados. Okay. Mence comes out. T-Wave it, I think that's fine. Bit unlucky to be crit. Why is he switching? Oh my god, I don't like this. I don't like the switching. I really don't like this. I think Regiseal... I mean, it's the thing is, once you use up Chesto Berry, it really changes, right? It really changes what's correct. Before the Chesto Berry is used, I think you try and get Regiseal set up. With Chesto Berry used, maybe you do have to... I don't know. Like, we were never switch shielding this, right? It just wasn't happening. Gyarados was obviously taking too much damage. Get the full paralyze there, and the amnesia comes in. So at this point, it should be a win. There's a lot of switching for no reason, though, I think. The issue is, you've got to be really careful about enemies where if you curse too much, they become faster than you, which is most enemies. Because at -6, you have a 75% reduction to speed, which is the same as Paralyze. And naturally, of course, Registeel is slower than almost everything. So again, you don't want to use too many curses before it's out of PP. I haven't been counting the flamethrowers. No, it went first again. Like, why? Like, look. What if it crits here? And then it crits here? Because it crit there, the substitute goes. And then it crits or burns there. And Registeel just dies. You do not curse. You do not curse to become slower until the scary move has no PP left. Obviously, you can't. When you can't curse, you can't curse, and when you can't sub, you can't sub. But okay, and we're attacking on super low PP. I think you sub here, definitely. Not quite at the HP, but I think, I don't know, maybe you kill it. I think you sub there, though. No crit, obviously, anyway. There's a lot of these games, like, you know, Gardevoir crits. Gyarados comes out, and it's fun about Gardevoir, and you lose. GG. Lots of really scary situations. Slowking. This shouldn't be interesting, should it? I'm just going to assume this is full setup. Something's going to happen. I don't know what's going to... Like, this looks very straightforward so far, right? I'm assuming that's full setup. Soaking goes down. Okay. Okay, we're back to this. Suicune 1. So something to say about this is that Jellal thinks this is Suicune 6. Suicune 6 doesn't exist in... I'm not sure if that's obvious on the thing. Like, Suicune 6 doesn't exist at level 50. It's a really weird comment. Okay, we switched. I think you just stay in and use Amnesia. Because it's going to just waste surfs. I don't hate trying to paralyze it, though. I think it's fine. I don't hate trying to get a few Ack drops either. I think that's also fine. Obviously, it's pretty scary to try and PP stall this with Latias because we're paralyzed. And we could just be paralyzed on a recover turn. There's a crit. Like, if you're going to go Latias immediately. Don't, like, stay in a few turns and then go. Because it's obviously much harder to hit Mudslap at this point. Okay, so Suicune's fully setting up. It looks scarier than it is because Suicune's running out of Surf. I don't think Registeel can actually lose. That's good. It's got 3 serfs left, so you just use substitute. Holy shit! Okay. Okay, I know why this is highlighted. You have to substitute here. Oh my god, that's poor play. So he wasn't dragging the serfs at all. Oh my god. Because it could, even if it had like 6 serfs, you could still win. You just have to use substitute. Ooh, oh no. Like, yeah, it full paralyzes. Look how much damage that does. He would be dead. He'd be dead. One surf, like amnesia, surf. Amnesia, surf. Gyarados comes in, surf. That's a very funny time to use the sub. Anyway. Sub right point when it's out of its PP. Okay, that is awful. That is so bad. Okay. Because you straight up lose. Okay. Yeah, that's bad. Again, I think miscounting in like random games is okay. But like at the point you switch, like at this point here, you've got to be aware, because I think it's better to stay in with I think it's probably better to stay in with Registeel, or to go and just Thunderwave and then go back. But at this point, you've got to be aware that if Suicune uses enough Calm Minds, you can just lose. Like that did 109. So if anything, Suicune over boosted. There's only one thing to do here, which is to count Surf PP. Oh god, that's bad. Okay, so I know why. So that's why Jellal thinks Suicune 1 and 2 are bad, even though he should automatically win. Oh yeah, that was really, really poor, because he had a 100% win by just using substitute, and he used amnesia instead, which is like not a guaranteed loss because we can get fully paralyzed, but obviously extremely dicey. Just realized that this is the music playing here. I'm gonna replay Gen 5. No, Gen 3. That's awful. That is horrendous. Oh my god. Oh, and this is his how to use the team video, where he misplays against Registeel. I remember this. Oh my god. I remember this. So he's facing an enemy Registeel and he doesn't properly stall it. And then this same one. Like he is looking, he's using lookup, but like you have to PP stall raw. So like, you know, again, I said earlier, raw and whirlwind aren't problems, because if you're willing to sit there for like 80 turns, you do win. But if you're not willing to sit there for 80 turns, not only can you waste a load of PP on Curse for no reason, but you don't get the full setup. He's commentating this, by the way. I know he's commentating. I'm not going to listen to that directly. Like, this is really weird to me. Is this going to use Raw? Oh, it's going to use Thunderwave because it's slower, but it could use Raw. And he hasn't got a full setup. He's only done +2 or whatever. I mean, yeah. Can't mind Lado, he's not going to win. I remember that how to use video. This is it's funny because it was so badly played. This is also, that's the same one. Which one's this? the Dragon Tamer, so he didn't know the Steelix set. It explodes. It's very lucky to get the miss. I'll put it that way. Like, Latias should die quite often here. Oh, hold on. Did I miss one? Apparently, there was another bad one. Okay, wait. No, that's the end of this video. Okay. I think my notes are missing something. I don't think it matters though. I think our point has been made. Jellal does not play his team perfectly. Get Megahorn. This is the game that Steelix missed Explosion versus Latias. Wait, hold on. Do we just... Okay, we're not going for any setup. We just instantly Earthquake. I'm not going to say it's wrong. It is a choice. Mence comes in. That's pretty damn scary. It's a Dragon Dance set, which could easily be Earthquake, of course. It could still easily be Earthquake. Just because it didn't use it doesn't mean it doesn't have it. This is a battle replay, right? That's why he's not checking his notes. Okay, so we stall out the Earthquakes. Yeah, my notes say something about a Gardevoir game where he misplays. And also Executor. I mean, I don't think it matters too much. So a PP stalling by switching. You know, you do have to do this to use this theme competently. If you want to get a win streak above 70, you need to do this. Reggie was getting hurt a bit. I wonder if, I don't know, like, you can't really switch out against that Nidoking. There really is nothing you can do here except stall. Intimidate is a really good ability for this reason. Really, really good ability. Okay, we're coming close to the end of it. Switch. And now we stay in and set up and win. No, no, no. No, no, no. Why are we switching? Why did we risk... Hold on. Why did we risk this? It was out of Earthquake. Look, you stay in here. What about Facade crit? Why are we taking that damage for no reason? Ooh, that's not good. Again... You can miscount in random games where Latias is still alive, but in games where Latias has fainted and it's like kind of an emergency scenario. I don't know about that. Okay, so he wants to recover the HP lost. I mean, this is the third Pokemon anyway, right? This is really weird. Like, why did we go back? We're not intimidating, and then we get crit. Like, it was Steelix, Nidoking, Celements. We don't need... There's no reason to... Like, again, if there was a Pokemon in the back, you could say, oh, I want to heal Gyarados, just in case. But this is the final Pokemon. If Gyarados is going to come out, it's because Registeel dies. Why are we doing this? Like, we're just risking the back-to-back-to-back Facade crit for no reason, right? Please don't overboost with Curse as well. Again, the crit is the only way to lose. I think you just attack now. You definitely attack now. There's no point cursing beyond +2. There's definitely... Like, this is just pointless. Yep, this is overboosting. You don't need to set up. There's no Pokemon in the back. Like, we didn't even set up to Oka. We just set up for no reason. Like, I think you just use, like, 2 Curse, and then you start using Hidden Power, and you will just win. The only way to lose this is for Ment to, like, infinitely crit. I don't know. Gonna quickly check comments. It's Jellal's streak. I think it's fake. I'm pretty sure it's fake. Anyway, that's the end of that part. Okay, so the thing is, this isn't a convincing argument yet, because what have I shown so far? What I've shown so far is, I think his write-up is a bit sus. I think his fretless is bad. There's a lot of wins in a row, and I think he misplayed a bit. But you know, on the other side, maybe Gen 3 Tower is really easy. Like, maybe it doesn't matter that you misplay. So this is the next part of the reveal where I say that I have played over 800 games with this team. I have exclusively been save stating to 70 if I lose. So that I don't think the first, like, 49 games of Tower mean very much. Particularly for a streak which is meant to be 1,600 or whatever. So I was just playing past 70, and my record past 70 was 809 wins and 23 losses. Obviously, that implies that the average number of wins this team should get is very poor. Like, very poor. Like, this is a team that struggles to get 100, and it would be extremely rare for this team to get more than 200, and somehow Jellal got 1,600. So, you know, you might well say, well, maybe I misplayed. Maybe I was playing badly, and this is the second part where I'm going to load a load of save states to show all my losses. Because I have a lot of them. Are these ordered? Let's go by date. This first one, I think, was slightly misplayed by me. It's really annoying me that this was, like, it fit first and then it fit the screen. No. Oh my god, dude, why can't you just work? Like, it's missing the bottom half for no reason. Okay, that's better. So this is a pretty straightforward loss. I ran at literally the same team as him. You know, I'm trying to copy the way he plays as well, so I tried to just heal on Latias and I got no crit. Got Earthquaked, so we know it's an Earthquake set. We start doing the switch stall. It's not going to work. Definitely could have played slightly better, but this is what happens if you play like Jellal against Latias 2. Got a lot more. Oh yeah, I lost to Latias 2 again. Completely different game. Tried to use Flash there, I missed. Tried to recover. Just get crit. Get paralyzed, trying to do switch stall. Get paralyzed again. Try and set up. Get paralyzed again. You know, it's not good luck, but you know, if you want to win hundreds of games in a row, you're gonna have some bad luck. There's the crit. And no miss on the Thunderbolt. No full paralyze. Oh yeah, then there was Metagross free. This one. Lump Starmie lead. I Amnesia. Try and get the boost in. Obviously it's a Starmie, I should be fully set up. It resists switches, which is fine, because that's something you want to play around. Metagross 3 gets a few double teams. I'm doing my best to hit it. It's a disaster to switch here. I can't intimidate switch it anyway. I'm just trying to hit hidden powers. Gets the crit. I'm just trying to hit it, because if I hit it, I force it to rest and then I get a free sub. It's not guaranteed to rest, of course, because it is faster than me, yeah. Miss, miss, miss. Miss, miss, miss. Miss, miss, miss. I run out of hidden power on Registeel. I miss every Earthquake. And then it crits. Yeah, but the switch on HP normal was weird. What was next? I lost to a guitarist. Okay, it's not a very descriptive one. Manectric is definitely annoying. I miss Flash. I mean, Flash is just such a terrible move to use in pinch scenarios. I'm wondering what's going to happen here. Doing my best to avoid being paralyzed. Doing my best to make sure the sub is up as much as possible. Jesus, dude. Oh my god. This is Jellal streak. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Load file. Oh, it's Marowak. Yeah. I mean, what I'm doing is basically proving... No, that's not right. What is this? It was mislabeled, perhaps? That might have been a regular one. Let's go Wolverine 4. I mean, Wolverine 4 is kind of an obvious issue, right? Not a lot that can be done there. Oh yeah, and Regice free. Spoilers, it's Regice free, I guess. Get frozen immediately, it happens. Definitely want to preserve Latias against Regice, because Latias does just die to it. It crits anyway. Try and get a boost off, I die. Regice free wins. It's really not hard to lose with this team, is the point I'm making. There's Rhydon loss. Interesting, it's not a ride on lead. Okay, we get crit. It happens. A quick setup on Metacham. I'm not going to claim I play all these games perfectly, but I will claim that I think I play them better or as well as Jellal plays. So we get the setup here. You know, it is what it is. I'm just waiting for it to break the sub again. Patiently waiting. Because I do not want to lose to, like, a misplay, basically. That was the ethos of this. Oh, I was going for a Gyarados setup. Okay, fair enough. I do think the Gyarados setup probably is better, particularly if Regiseal is still alive. Okay, so we went for the Gyarados setup. Gyarados full setups. Right on Quick Claw. Yeah, GG. I don't know which one this is. It's not Lum. Curse, okay, that's fine. So I decide that aggression is probably a good idea. And also it's probably a bad idea to try and speed Tidus. Edigos comes out. I'm not set up. Got a little bit, but not a lot. I'm going to run out of PP against Medigos 3 almost certainly. It is a very big issue. I'm too low to sub. The best thing I could do is try and force it to rest on... No. Boost into crit. Yep. Great game. Great team. Oh, we got a Lapras loss. Spoilers. Spoilers, it's a Lapras loss, I guess. Get Milo down. I wonder if I'm going to set up the Gyarados here or not. I don't think it's right or wrong, it's a stylistic choice. Unlucky to be crit by Hydro Pump. But crit into Quick Claw, not even Quick Claw, just sheer cold hitting. It is a risk of Gyarados. And then we get Horn Drilled. Oh, these are replays. I'm jumping between save files. Don't worry if it's inconsistent. Mimetric 1. Now, that's a turn 1 explosion, which is something that you can't really avoid have happen. Yeah. I definitely think you have to do your best to get as far ahead as possible. Obviously, in a situation like this, it is very, very sensitive to being crit on the wrong turn. Got paralyze as well. Full paralyze, full paralyze. Crit. Metagross of Regirock. Mash. So this is the same Regirock that killed Jellal. Although I don't have Gyarados, so I need to crit this basically. And it crits me instead. Easy loss. Yeah, my record, as I said, my record with this team is I went 803 wins, or 809 wins and 23 losses. That was my record. This is Latios too. Spoilers. Yeah, I'm trying to play it like Jellal does, which is recover spam. You could definitely argue it's best to just go Registeel initially. Get the Intimidate on to Earthquake, but it crits the Earthquake. And I can't recover that. Go for the crit, don't get it. Emergency kill Latios, but Latias comes out and Latias has Thunderbolt, and that's the end. Starting from 70 each time. So I save stated at 70 and then continued playing until I lost. If I lost, I went back to a save state at 70. Because playing the start of the streak doesn't mean anything, because the start of the streak is just 3 wins against bad Pokemon, basically. And obviously the majority of 1,664 was played after match 49 or after match 70, whatever you prefer. Nidoking free, okay. Do your best to get sub up, at least until it's out of drills. Leopard Berry is super annoying. This thing is a menace. Like, you can't even Thunder Wave this thing, obviously. I don't know what you're meant to do. Get paralyzed on Gyarados, that's the end of it. Oh, Dewgang. We have a Dewgang loss. That's exciting. Hey, Jeep. Yep. That was easy, okay. Oh my god, this team. Dewgang destroyed it. Oh, I've got one here. This is how to beat Freddy. I mean, it's obvious, right? But Jellal wrote about it as a big threat. Oh, I have multiple losses. Wait, I've skipped over a few of these. I lost the ladder. Okay, what? It's fine. I'm not going to show, like, using the same one again, I guess. So this is obviously Freddy. You're not too worried about this. Like, I guess in an ideal world, Latias somehow lives. The thing is, because it has Hyper Beam, and because Hyper Beam has to do a recharge turn, very often ends up looking like this. Hyper Beam is not going to be used against Registeel when it's resisted anyway. Earthling 6 is definitely Freddy, with all of the nicknames. This is another Rhydon, apparently. Mistdrill. That's a good start, actually. I don't agree with using Curse that much, but it is what Jellal did. Put it low. Crit. You could argue it should go after like +1. I think in a real game, in that state, after it's got that many attack drops, I probably would have done that though. This is another explosion. I think I would have gone for +2 in a real game. So that's a turn 1 explosion. Get burned. And this is over. Could have got a miss, but we didn't. Nido King 3 again, apparently. I mean, Nido King 3 makes sense. It's a problem. Got quite a few mud slaps there, actually. Enough that it's probably best to try and set up on this. Yeah, okay. The thing is, it's not even that unlucky. Like, on average, an Oko mood hits about once every 2 turns. Snorlax 3 loss, okay. I don't know, the issue is if you don't curse at all, I don't know. I think part of the problem is that you've only got 16 substitute PP as well. It's tricky. Regiseal's not that easy to use. Trying to mix in the correct number of act drops. So yeah, this is the problem with Mud Slap. Obviously Jellal ran it for 1,000 games. We got Quick Clawed, and then we Mud Slap, and then there was a resist switch to Ment. There's a good chance it's Lumberry actually, isn't it? It's not? Okay. Like, honestly, it's not even that bad, because it's not like Ment immediately crit us. It's using Crunch because we got its attack down. Wow, do I really lose this? Do I really lose this? Okay. I'm guessing it's the back-to-back crit then. Oh, interesting. No, okay. Crit on the turn I kill. That's a classic. What's going to happen here? Crit, obviously, right? Yes, okay. Crit into crit. It does happen. It's only 1 in 256, and in a lot of games, the enemy has multiple chances to get crit into crit. And Snorlax also Quick Claws Gyarados. Go for the stall out. Oh, it gets the crit. Okay, yeah. That's unlucky. Unlucky for Latias not to clutch that, actually. That press 7, apparently. Spoilers. Confused and paralyzed. You could definitely switch here. Go for the maximum act drops, I guess, so that we've got the highest possible chance of the sub not being broken by a crit or whatever. So Sheer Cold hits, and then Sheer Cold hits. Nice. Do everything possible to make it 1 out of PP on Latias, but it doesn't. I think the thing about Gen 4 is that the equivalent team in Gen 4 ran Garchomp. And in a lot of these games where it's looking bad, Outrage or Earthquake Garchomp could save the day, even without setup. Thanks, Phyllis. This is just called 723. I don't know what that means. I mean, I can see why this is bad already. I would be scared if this was a real streak. I'd be scared at this point, definitely. I don't know, like, should you paralyze Ursaring? Obviously, Guts is a problem. I think probably best not to paralyze it. We have dropped its accuracy considerably. That's a crit. That's a crit. That's a crit. That's a crit. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. There's the crit, okay? There's the crit. Go for single dance. Mens comes out. This is why you want +2 as a generic boost target. Maybe you should have gone for +2. On the other hand, one Pokemon left. Get up to +1. I don't know. Gardevoir 4 apparently caused issues as well. Ice Punch. Ice Punch. Freeze because of Synchronize. Instant Burn. Obviously, you know, I played almost 900 games. These are the unlucky ones, but I did lose 23 times in that span. So it's not that unlucky. And there's the Freeze. Well, we actually didn't lose to Freeze direct. Okay, yeah. That's a Magpie moment, definitely. Getting back-to-back frozen. I don't even think it's worth using Thunder Wave on this thing, because it's going to rest. I think you've got to go for the crit. Like, this is so bad, isn't it? That's so bad. Oh my god. Going for the crit once more. Nope. Maybe Latias can win. Nope. Oh, it is really bad. Clear body, yeah, it's a funny ability. I mean, it's obviously it's not that great competitive. There are worse abilities, of course, but yeah, it's basically can't get intimidated and can't randomly get like Spadef dropped and stuff. So we took out Lapras, but I'm guessing we're gonna get crit. Bad. I should have covered for that, really. I think... Oh, is it Metagross free again? Oh my god, this thing was such a pain. This was a bigger pain than Regirock, because even if you're set up, it can just stop the sweep. Nidoking 1 apparently did something. That's exciting. It's very likely to use. Maybe you should go Registeel first, I'm not sure though. Like, you do need setup. So there's a few I missed. We care about this. Apparently I played the Dugong match again. Let's have a look at this. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I missed out a few losses. It's fine though. Oh yeah. Okay. So I just attack that time. I save stated at the start of quite a lot of these games. Because if I lost and I felt like it was a misplay, I replayed the game. Oh my god. That was a good one. Maybe he is just lucky. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I would definitely say this team struggles to get like... Wait, alright. This team struggles to get like 200, let alone 1.6k. It's crazy. Okay, so there was more to say about Jellal. I think my honest opinion is, I think this is cheated. I feel this more strongly than anything else on the leaderboard. It's just such a massive out. A lot of people have tried to play this team as well over the years, and no one has been able to reproduce it. And I think sometimes the obvious answer is the correct answer, which is that the streak isn't real. Anyway, this is another streak he did. This one is not meant to be as serious, but I just want to highlight it because I think it's bad. Anyway, this is a proper trick team. It's got choice band trick with Grumpig. Grumpig might sound like a meme, but actually Grumpig is one of the best trick users in Gen 3 because trick is just it's a very rare move to have on good Pokemon. So it's got trick, torment, reflect, icy wind. It's not too complicated with trying to trick things. Now in Gen 3 there are some disadvantages to using trick, obviously, that, you know, tricking Metagross into Meteor Mash is bad. You often get it on Shadow Ball, but you know, it's Gen 3, so it's random on which move does like more damage on its damage check. So this is widely agreed to be fine. This thing is also widely agreed to be pretty damn good. Essentially, you want to PP stall as much as possible with Subtech to Zapdos, and then you baton pass double teams. This thing is really, really good. Zapdos and Aero and Ninjask are all very, very good at double team and baton passing. If I go back to this, actually, this is the same idea. So this is Trick Gardevoir. I don't know, is it Memento or Trick? I don't remember. There's no... Yeah, it's Thief, that's it. There's no Trick in Gen 3 on Gardevoir. Memento into Zapdos, and then Zapdos baton passes into Mence. And that's a good team. And, you know, he mentions it's, you know, this is Submence's Zapdos. Okay, so what's the sweeper, okay? We've got Grumpig into Zapdos, and we're going to pass evasion boosts into Regirock. Well, I've got a lot to say about this. I've got a lot to say about this. So first things first. At least this Pokemon as substitute. So when we sweep, we do at least hide behind sub. It's got Curse set up, and it's got Earthquake, and it's got Hidden Power Rock, so it can't miss Rock Slide at least. The thing I really, really hate about this Regirock is the Quick Claw. Like, Jellal talks about Quick Claw as if it's this, like, genius invention, but in reality what Quick Claw does is it means you're not sure if you're going to go first or not. So, you know, if you're facing down an enemy and you know they're about to break your substitute, normally you would just use substitute. But but because you could Quick Claw substitute, you can Quick Claw substitute, it fails, then your sub gets broken, and then you don't Quick Claw and you just die. Like, it's just, it is unbelievably annoying. You do sometimes scam out Okos against enemies that you shouldn't outspeed and then you do outspeed. That is true. The issue is, like, I guess if Quick Claw was an item that you could turn off and choose not to have activate sometimes, it would be great, but it's not great. It really doesn't work. This Regirock also has no passive recovery, which is not a huge deal because there's no Bomber Snow in Gen 3, but what it does mean is that when you do the baton pass, you have to be pretty damn sure you're not going to go back again. But most of all, this Regirock is trying to sweep. Most of the time it does get double team, but it doesn't always. But it's trying to sweep 3 enemies when it's almost certainly slower than all of them. And it's got no way of boosting its special defense. You just get evasion. So yeah, I don't know. And he talked about trying to achieve Okos on Skarmory at +6. I just don't think this matters. Like, yeah, Skarmory can phase you out, but then you can just set up again. It's not a big deal. I don't like this. Anyway. The fretless discussion, I mean, you know, it's the classic, right? Things can explode on your lead. Things can use a really, really strong move. You don't want to lock something into Curse. Psych Up can be annoying, yeah. Normal types with strong attacks because they can go through Zapdos and Grumpig. Sticky Hold prevents Trick. Avoid tricking these Pokemon, yeah. You obviously, in Gen 3, you give them the Choice Band boost. It is a bit scary. So, on one hand, this is a less serious team because it's, you know, it's only 350 wins. He says he genuinely believes it can hit over 1,000 wins. I think he must have... I think what happens is, I think he built this team. He thought it was a genius idea. And then he played it a bit and realized he couldn't even pretend to hit 1,000 with this team. This is a truly, truly terrible team. I've got some losses with it because I played it. I went 196 wins and 3 losses. So in other words, it's very rare for this team to go past 200. He reached 350 while playing it pretty... He's got some videos of this as well where he misplays a lot, but, you know, again, I don't think there's much point showing that because it's much easier to understand. So I lost to Metagross with this exact team. Trick. Got Bright Powder. Meteor Mash. Go for the Reflect. Go for the double team while Reflect is still up, because Reflect is about to go. Oh yeah, I also really didn't like Reflect on this team. I remember that a bit more now. Go for that. Trying boosting as much as possible. Once Reflect wears off, obviously we take huge damage. Trying to get some struggle misses. Nothing happens. We pass. We now need to catch up on the boosting. The struggle crits are extremely scary if they come in. Don't have time to boost up fully. Latios comes out, breaks a sub. We kill. Slowbro comes out and kills us. Try and scam out the win, but nothing happening. This team is just, it's really quite bad. This is another loss. Domfan. EQs. That's a full setup. This is as good as it gets for the team, really. That was a quick claw. Blizzard breaks a sub. Gator pumps. Dead. Reflect, Horn Drill. Do everything I can, but it quick claws Zapdos as well. Just try and kill it. Heracross out. Do manage to beat that, but then it's Steelix last, and Steelix kills me with Earthquake. Oh, it's just not a good team. So another thing I wanted to talk about is Jellal's behavior as Fred leader. Again, at the start, I said it's a big deal because Jellal was Fred moderator, so you know the person who approved this streak was Jellal. this was a big one. Just Peaches post. This is the battle arena, by the way. The battle arena is the one where you can't switch and there's judging at the end of 3 turns. So this guy or girl, anyway. New Blaziken, got the gold symbol. That's not rare. Obviously, a lot of people can get the gold symbol. And then they kept playing. They got 109 wins. Now, 109 wins is a lot in the arena. But definitely possible. You know, there was just such a thing as being quite lucky. And 109 isn't a ridiculous streak. The arena world record is 300 and something. Anyway, running this Blaziken, this generic Blaziken with Overheat and so on. Obviously, Overheat Sky Uppercut can miss, so can Rock Slide. But this guy's not the first person to run inaccurate moves in the Frontier. So anyway, let's see. Does he talk about his original team? I'm trying to remember what he had. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so he was running Latios, Metagross, Blaziken. Okay. So, honestly, like, it's a little bit of a nothing. This is nowhere near world record. It is a big streak. Is it fake? Maybe, maybe. And then he talks about playing some Palace. Blah, blah, blah. And then he says that he's going to try and breed a Blissey. Chansey and Zellion both. Asking some questions about EV spreads. This is pretty normal behavior. So then Jellal asks a few questions about some... He points... Like, this happens a lot where people point out that better teams are better. I find it hard to believe your thing. Blah, blah, blah. Oops, sorry. Yeah, didn't word it quite right. He attaches proof. So again, this is the Smogon thread only requires picture proof. I think it's obvious from the amount of effort that's been put into this post that it's not a troll. It's not someone pissing around. Yeah, this person was taking it seriously. Maybe they cheated. I think it's difficult to say they cheated. And he keeps posting. This is common. A lot of people posting new, blah, blah, blah. Where's Jellal? So he says he updates the leaderboard except for this one in particular. And he said it's very suspicious. I have a huge weak swing streak to he's 100 with Blaziken, who's 3 out of 4 moves and not even 100% accurate moves. I can respect these people using their favourites and trying to attempt to streak their favourite Pokemon. Don't have the highest opinion of Blaziken Gen 3, but guys, blah, blah, blah. However, the streak basically says the streak number is too high. You've been busy reviewing it. So, essentially, he writes to load more. Yeah, he writes to load more. So he's not going to be added. Basically, this guy got banned. I just... You know, it's a matter of opinion on what streaks you think are fake, but I personally don't think there's any grounds for not adding that. And for banning that user. Like... Yeah, these teams are slightly better, but, you know. I think Jellal is throwing stones from a glass house. Anyway, I just don't think it's right that was a ban. And then there's another one. Factory. Someone got 105 in factory doubles. So, as people know, in factory doubles, what's the 259 and Elrixie has 196. They might be listed here. This is a recent-ish streak. Like, this was only slightly before the new PB by Guma. Like, I think Smogon has a problem with Factory where it's like, if it's not recorded and you don't want to write a million words, how do you prove it's real? I don't know, like, there are a lot of players who've got big Factory streaks that we do believe, but didn't film it. And in general, those have been added. But but not this one, apparently. This has not been added. I mean, I think Nico's fine to say that he needs a few more than a few screenshots. Like, it is a problem with Smogon. I'm not blaming Nico for this specifically. But, you know, this guy's running the leaderboard, and there have been Battle Factory write-ups that look like this. And I don't know why this one was banned. It's a bit arbitrary. Then this was one of the worst ones. So, Jason did a load of doubles lead. I think most of them have actually been added since. I think Valentino did add them. Let me check. Yeah, so basically Jason did a 1k in both categories of Battle Tower doubles. These are widely agreed to be the best teams. Basically Latios, Tauros, and something in the back. Choice Band Tauros. It's a well-known, very good team. And then he did some big records in Dome. And he added them and, you know, wrote a load of stuff. Blah, 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 blah. And basically they weren't added for ages and ages and ages. And then basically Jellal just said, oh, I can't test it. I haven't had time to test it, so you haven't been added. And this is quite controversial as well. I just don't know how you can refuse this. I suppose the thing is you can't point at it. It was made worse by some of the streaks that were added. Oh, I love the UK. So, a very controversial thing that happened in the Gen 3 Frontier, of course, was Captain Santana. So Captain Santana isn't on the leaderboard anymore because he was outed as a cheater. But Jellal basically, I think, like, one thing you could say is that Jellal buried his head in the sand and ignored the Santana streak. The Santana streak was added to the leaderboard without any of the suspicion that was presented to the previous users. The Santana streak, by the way, was, you know, incredibly obviously fake. Everyone knew it was fake. It was one of those things where everyone knew it was fake except Jellal, it seemed. It was finally called out, and he basically admitted to it. But another big thing about, like, he wrote this stuff about, like, oh yeah, I was about to question Santana. I was just about to do it. And there's no evidence that he did this. What's really quite sus about the Santana streak as well is that Jellal said a load of stuff in Discord about, like, oh, I've got a 250 streak in Dome. So if I go to Dome, where's Dome? So Battle Dome, right? This is very out of date. This is very, very out of date. There's Jellal's streak here, which he's claimed that this is a streak. So Santana used to have 368 or something. A DDD now has 370. But between that, Jellal claimed that he was at 250 in Dome. He just said he was. And he never, if this was Dome singles, he never provided proof. He never wrote it up. But the fact that, like, everyone was questioning Santana. And then Jellal basically said, oh, well, I have 250 in Dome as well, with good stuffs. Which was kind of like, oh, okay, well, maybe if Jellal has 250 in Dome with good stuffs, maybe Santana's good stuff streak is also legit, maybe. And then it was just, like, never written up. And then Santana was exposed as obviously having cheated. And we just kind of, like, buried the fact that Jellal had this outrageous claim in Dome singles as well and just never appeared. And then, like, there's another one, right? This is from, this is another thing that Jellal posted where he has, this is Battle Arena singles. Obviously, there's only singles in Battle Arena. He had 154 in Battle Arena with, what was it, Dig Flygon or something ridiculous. And this is another one where it might not sound like a lot, but, like, that's second. That's second by a long way. Yeah. Well, not a long way. It is second by a decent margin, though. And that was also just never written up. And I remember thinking his team was not great. And anyone who's played Arena knows it is very hard. And I know we just talked about this. I know we just talked about how this was or whatever. Where is it? The Peaches record was rejected for being 109 with Blaziken, but like, there is quite a big gap between 109 and 154. If we remember that the first 40 games or so are easy. This is that there's been several cases where, like, he's said things and there's just been nothing that has come out of it, which I find a bit suspicious. Another big one though is the Pike record. So Jellal caught me out on this. I was caught out by this. Where is it? Like, I think this is I think it's outrageous that this is on the leaderboard. I think this might be even worse than Tower. Here it is, 777. So in my original Pike video, I said that you can use Guts Pokemon. And the main reason I said that was because I played a little bit with Heracross, but also Jellal had this streak with Heracross. Where the idea is... Wait a minute. You know, the idea is that you've got Choice Band plus Guts, and you hit incredibly hard with Heracross. I don't know. I think Hidden Power Bug is a bit of a meme, honestly. I think you should just run Hidden Power Mega Horn, except that you sometimes miss. But he was running this, and I thought, okay, well, you know, it's a decent idea. It makes a bit of sense. 777 in Pike is a huge streak. But this team just does not work. I've played it a lot. It just does not work. And then I was like, okay, well, you know, it's a lot worse than I thought it was. And then I went and watched him actually play Pike.
I mean, I ended up getting poison. I ended up getting Heracross poison, and I don't want to.
So I'm playing. I don't know if the video is audible. He said he's got Heracross poisoned.
Okay, it missed the sheer cold. Big question: do I switch in? Big question: do I switch?
Like, to be clear, what this is showing, he's not using spreadsheets or calcs at all, which is fine if you're good enough to not have to use them. If you don't need spreadsheets and calcs, it's fine.
Well, let's go, because I think at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Okay, so we're just going to risk that sheer cold. That's not what I'm going to complain about, by the way.
A little heart attack in there, but yeah. Break, Guts, and Choice Band. You're not gonna survive this. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get your hacks.
So Vaporeon comes in, right? We're Choice Band Guts. We've just used Brick Break. I don't know if it was best to use Brick Break there, but regardless.
And this is Guts.
So what do you do here against Vaporeon? You've got Blissey in the back. Do you stay in? I would bet most people, they would either switch straight to Blissey, or they would bring up the damage calc and check if you actually do kill this Vaporeon with Brick Break. Because it would be an unbelievably big mistake to stay in and just attack here. Because Vaporeon could obviously live. And Jellal just says it dies.
And this is gonna kill Vaporeon, or at least it should kill.
No, it's not. Like, it's just outrageously bad. It's just you can't play. I was playing with Heracross. I was like, I think Heracross is actually quite bad, but oh my god, that's just to not do the calc is crazy. Wait, I've got more notes on the Pike. Do I want to talk about this actually? Do I want to talk about this? So anyone who didn't hear, he said that it's gonna kill. Or do I want to talk about Pike? We might as well talk about Pike. I mean, I'm fully laying out all the stuff I've noticed about Jellal. Yeah, there was also Quick Claw. Yes.
With a very high special attack IV, but let's see in here.
Path in the center may have been Whispering. So Whispering can be doubles.
Okay, Path in the center, Whispering, but
So it's the 10th room next. Whispering, so there's a chance it's doubles in the middle, or it's an NPC.
Pamphlet in the center, whispering room. I don't feel so confident going into, especially if you're
So he doesn't feel confident going into it. He doesn't want to risk doubles. Fair enough.
down, so
So he's not going to do it.
I
Okay.
would take my chances. I would go elsewhere.
Take your chances and go elsewhere.
10 rooms. Okay, the gentleman.
We get by Toxic. So it's the 10th room, right? So every single Pokemon he has is going to have a status now.
Okay, gentleman, poison my Pokemon.
It doesn't matter, Hughes. I'm just saying, like, pretend we don't have any understanding of the glitches. So everything is poisoned. He should know this. He's probably going to check.
So let's go.
So we go now. So we just avoided doubles. He didn't want to risk doubles. Half in the center, wave in nostalgia.
Yep, I'm picking this one. Half in the center, and
So it's guaranteed to be healing.
the gentleman is gonna heal my Pokemon.
Because all of his Pokemon had status, it was going to be healing.
There we go. Something very important.
Restores 1, so he's still damaged, but that's fine.
Are free if all of your Pokemon are status.
So he says the nostalgia rooms are free if all your Pokemon have a status. That is correct.
Status afflicted. So basically, he's always gonna
Okay, so it healed Blissey.
heal something.
Latios is still poisoned. He wanted to avoid doubles around 11 minutes because Heracross was fainted.
And
Remember that.
he only healed one Pokemon, buddy.
Okay, so we go in. This is now the final room.
That sucked. That really sucked. Okay, I'm in the last room.
So it may be whispering. So it's the double hint again. So he still doesn't have Heracross. Surely he's going to dodge doubles. Like, this is like 600 games into a Pike run. It's a massive streak. Surely he's not just going to randomly change his mind than he did 1 minute ago.
Half in the center, whispering. Well, let's go here. I mean, let's go for this room.
Like, there's just no logic. Like, obviously, it works out. There's just no logic at all behind it. It's crazy. He just completely changes his mind for no reason in the space of 1 minute. It's just crazy. I don't know. Like, if it was me, I'd be dodging this every time because I would think that Latios and Blissey are incredibly likely to win the singles match. This is a 50-50 to be doubles. The other ways are one in 3 to be singles, right? And singles is better than doubles with this team. It's just crazy. I don't know. I just would not have done that. It's just the fact that he changed his mind so randomly. This is another one.
Guts boosted here across.
I mean, this whole video is a disaster.
Gonna hit extremely hard. I don't mind taking the poison damage because I got soft boil Blissey in case that Heracross goes too low in health. I can always soft boil and replenish him as much as I need to. That's completely perfect.
It's not quite true, by the way. It is a little bit
Now
risky
that
to
I've
use
done
soft
that for
boiled.
some purpose, I can also pick Nostalgia Runes because now I have a chance of the Gentleman healing my Pokemon instead.
Path on the right. Is it a trainer you send to people? You never take these. Because it can be a single trainer battle without healing. You never take these. It's a strategy that everyone follows, including Jellal. He writes about in his write-up that he doesn't take these.
Trainer. Let's go for an NPC battle.
He just did it! He just does it for no reason.
If it's no healing, that's completely fine. I got it, but it got specific.
It's the NPC battle with no healing. It's just so crazy. It's just such it's like it's not that hard to play Pike quite well, but he's managed to dodge it. Right, there's more. Is it 20 minutes apparently? Okay, so Heracross is dead here.
Oh my god. Do I better take a risk? Yeah, let's go.
So, as context, this is a Lucy round. The last room is guaranteed to be Lucy. So this is the penultimate room. This is the last random room before Lucy. Heracross is dead.
But you know, I actually believe that.
So Wave of Nostalgia, do you really want to take this? Do you really want to take this? Because if Latios gets a status, then it's a status that would ruin the fight with Lucy. You lose. Because we know from experience with me that Blissey can't win the Pike Queen Lucy fight on her own.
Bath in the center, Nostalgia, and I got a Pokemon killed, so let's go here. I have a good chance of getting Heracross back.
That's just a crazy risk to take. That's an insane risk to take. It works out.
2 Pokemon. Okay, hopefully. It's always fine.
So let's go ahead to the Pike Queen battle. So, as context, there is a very well-known bug here. This, again, if his streak is legit, he should have faced Lucy like 15 times or something by now.
Doesn't really does a lot because it has to rely on Screech to actually do big damage to Latios. So yeah, we're gonna go Psychic. Okay, no Focus Band activation, that's pretty great.
So Viper goes down. We always know it's Gyarados in next. So Gyarados intimidates Latios here, that's important.
It's Gyarados.
And we Thunderbolt.
I'm gonna Thunderbolt in here. Okay, so the Gyarados decided to return. That's completely fine.
So this is a really famous bug. Because Latios got intimidated, Steelix is going to use Earthquake here. Incredibly often, particularly when it's damaged. It's going to use Earthquake. Now, most of the time, it wouldn't be fair to judge someone on their knowledge of like weird glitches, even if they're quite common. But Jellal should have faced Lucy like 15 times at this point. This isn't even his first Pike run. He should have faced her loads and loads of times, and the Pike Queen Lucy fight will almost always be exactly the same, where Latios just kills the Viper, kills Gyarados, and then Steelix comes in. Steelix doesn't die to Ice Beam, and Steelix uses Earthquake. He should have seen this at least like 10, 15 times.
You might want to believe that battle might look closer than what it looks like. But yeah, you can see here, it Steelix for some reason just decides to Earthquake randomly. Like, what the hell?
Like, I just... Why is he surprised? No, Gyarados will always be sent out second. It's got Dragon Dance. It's super effective. More. Let me see it.
Give it Nostalgia. Let's go here. Ah, the Kirlia.
Thunder Wave, okay.
No, I'm not okay. Thank you for paralyzing everything, but I appreciate the concern. Okay, 11th room.
So 11, he's got Tombs left.
What have we got? What are we rolling here? Half on the left.
There's Whispering, okay, so it could be doubles again. It's fine. You can check yourself, but basically he says that he's upset about being paralyzed. So the issue of doubles when you're paralyzed is really, really, really bad.
Whispering.
Like, look at this. Latios is paralyzed. It has Lumberry, but there's no dynamic speed in Gen 3. So Latios is going to behave as if it is paralyzed. So Latios can't cover for the fast Pokemon that can kill Heracross. And then Bliss is obviously paralyzed in the back as well. I would not do doubles in this scenario.
Yeah, let's just go for another double.
So he just says, let's just go for it.
In case that happens, because okay, there we go.
And there's nothing in. It's an insane risk, I think. And then he does actually get a doubles battle in the next one.
Okay, it's another double battle.
Okay, so this is a basic competency test. Okay, chat. This... Oops. Okay, this is the last Ruben Pike. So you don't have to worry about how much damage you take. The only thing you have to worry about here is winning this. So you got Latios, it's paralyzed. It's about to cure its paralysis with Lumberry. You got Heracross, which is poisoned, and you got Blissey that's paralyzed in the back. On the enemy side is Sceptile and Typhlosion. What do you do? I'm looking for like one particular one. You swap Latios out. I think that's reasonable. He's protected. no wrong answers. Could go Heracross for Blissey. That's reasonable. Okay, let's say you want to attack. Which one do you want to attack? Let's say you don't want to switch. Because Blissey probably does win. Level by the zoom. Self-target Heracross, Jesus. Okay. So here's my analysis. I think the easiest way to lose this fight is to double target Sceptile. Because Sceptile could use Detect if it's Sceptile. If it's a Detect, what's it? Detect. I've forgotten the middle move. The Leech set, basically. So if we double target that and Typhlosion kills Heracross, I think we could then lose. Also fine, I think. Split target. Maybe we're wrong and it is Sceptile 1. And then we just split target. I think that's also fine. Probably best, just kill Typhlosion. If Typhlosion faints, there's no way Blissey won't kill Sceptile. It's over, okay? It's over if Typhlosion faints. Almost certainly. Just get rid of Typhlosion. Get it off the field.
Okay, unfortunately,
What do you think Jellal's going to do in his infinite wisdom?
Typhlosion does
Calm Mind.
hit me, but the Lumber is gonna activate it here. However,
And switch. I can't believe it, dude. I can't believe that you would Calm Mind here. Oh my god. Oh, I can't believe it.
out here across because otherwise it's gonna get.
Like, yeah, Heracross could faint, but it's the last match. How could you Calm Mind? Just attack. Just attack.
KO'd by the Typhlosion. Okay, there we go.
There's Ace. There's Blast. You know, Heracross would have fainted. Does it matter? Why are we using Calm Mind?
And now I get a free Calm Mind boost.
You get a free... He just said he gets a free Calm Mind boost. That's just insane to me. I cannot believe this.
Ice Beam to kill this. I'm just gonna Aromatherapy in here. Hopefully I get to...
I really think you should target Typhlosion as well. I mean, it's whatever. It's fine.
At the paralysis. Oh, and look at this. Typhlosion decides.
I mean, I can tell you from his commentary, he is not looking up any sets at all.
Sunny day. Battle should be okay. And still can take the Fire Blast even under Sun.
Like, I just don't get it. I just think it's absolutely nuts. It turns out like he wasn't in risk of like losing there because of what the sets turned out to be. Like it's fine, but like I still think it's really bad. I really hate the pseudo intellectualism of the Smogon thread at times. Like, posting stuff like this makes it look like you're doing research. Oops, no, don't want to reply. And I just think it proves nothing. That's not the link. Yeah, he did. This was the second run. He did like 300 dreams first. Like, I think it's fine to try Heracross. I don't think it's fine to say Heracross is good, but I think it's fine to try it. Also, like, I don't like Toxic on Blissey, but that's not the problem with this team. And it's not the problem with the streak either. So, you know, he writes this. He's obviously done a bit of research. Like, he doesn't know nothing. He can't have the excuse of just vibe playing. Let me see this. Like, what was he at the start?
The smug on post.
Yeah, so this was at 500. This wasn't like a joke. This wasn't like a for fun streak. This is just banded normal size. Yeah, okay. Metagross. Turns out Metagross is a problem for basically every team that has Latios and Blissey on it. Like, there's just... This isn't a great write-up either, for example, but... Like, I'm not picking on Moonblade here. It's not a great write-up, okay? It's short. But I don't think it's any worse than Jellal's. And it also... Like, Moonblade also benefits from the fact that he hasn't uploaded any footage here. So we kind of assumed that he played quite well. Because we assume that everyone plays well until they upload footage. And I want to make it clear that you can upload footage and it doesn't make you suspicious. There are lots and lots and lots of people who they upload footage and I don't think there's anything at all wrong with them. Basically everyone who live streams, I've got no suspicion on them. So sharing footage won't invite criticism. But it's when it's stuff like this where it's like, Jellal didn't stream his streak and then he shared a bit of gameplay. It's just so obvious that he's got no idea to play. Like, I would imagine Fella also has a very short write-up, right? Like, I think it's fine. Because the Smogon community is more casual. Just check that he didn't write up anything substantial. I mean, he's not wrong about this. Like, pick the nostalgia rooms if you have full status, but I would be tempted to say it's obvious. I just think that the problem with Heracross is that once you're paralyzed, yes, you have the guts boost, but you're super slow and you can still miss your turn 1/4 of the time. That's why I really didn't like using Heracross myself. No, this is when he overtook the leaderboard. I just don't think Jellal's played anything. The problem is, I don't think people can differentiate the difference, right? Like, this write-up is crap. The threat list is wrong. The description on how to play is often wrong. The team building process doesn't actually add anything. Like, this is just word sludge, right? This is a bad write-up. This is a good write-up. Okay, not specifically this post. Where is it? Maybe it was here. No. This is a good write-up. He explains how the team is used. But, like, on the surface, I don't think many people could tell the difference. And that's the problem. Like, these write-ups are for, like, about 5 people in the community to actually read. And everyone who's read this agrees that it's nonsense. And yet, it's there because he was Fred leader later. Everyone trusts him. It's just, there's no one to call this out. I just think it's ridiculous. I still can't get over. This is the thing I can't get over. As a matter of fact, the Latias set I'm using is basically the same one that Kyo uses in their team, which was inspired by Pitico's trick set. So the Latias you're using is inspired by the Latias on Pitico's team. But it doesn't have trick. It doesn't have trick. The strategy in Gen 4 was called Trick Scarf. I just think it's such bogus. It just I just can't get over it. Like, okay, okay, Gliscor's not in Gen 3. Maybe I should wait for it. I was gonna say, like, I win this match because I can trick Gliscor into counter. But if I can't, and then I switch, I can't set up on Gliscor because it's gonna guillotine or U-turn or counter or earthquake randomly. So Coco sends out, what are you gonna send out? Please send out something that's instructive. So Jolteon comes out, right? Pretend I've got Gyarados in the back of my team. So I can lock Jolteon onto a move that is not Thunderbolt here. It's going to Shadow Ball. So I can easily set up against Shadow Ball. I could even do that with Gyarados if I'm willing to be patient. But, you know, without Trick, what do I do against Jolteon 4? Like, I spam Flash, which is fine. Obviously, in Gen 3, it would have 30% less accuracy, but I probably do get some drops. And then it's just free to use Thunderbolt on Registeel and Gyarados. And I just think it's ridiculous that people don't see that. Otherwise, he'd lose the Lumberry. I appreciate that it's not easy. It's also it's uncomfortable to call someone out, right? But like, oh, there's so many losses, right? I've got some more. I think some of these games could have been played slightly better, but like I think that Latias 2, like, this is probably avoidable. It's really hard when they are Quick Claw. We're trying to PP stall T-Bolt, get some Intimidates off. After 2 Intimidates, try and use Amnesia a bit. Try and set up as much as possible. It's still a bit threatening though. Like, it's always permanently risking the Quick Claw when sub is down. So there's Roar from Raikou. Bang, bang. Obviously, because Latias fainted is why we're in such a bad position here. We got the Amnesias up. Full Paralyze. Get the sub. Failed the sub a few times. This might take a while. I'm not even sure if this is a loss. It was saved. I'm not sure if it's a loss. Okay, it probably is a loss. Yeah, okay. Yeah, without Latias and Gyarados, this is risky. Definitely a matter of getting good enough luck. Definitely correct to just attack instead of sub. Yeah, it crits. Okay. So with Paralysis playing a big role at the end game there, I just think this team is just not very good. That's the issue. Did I show that second? I don't know if I've shown this one. The clear body is a really big issue. It is a really tough one. It's tough to know like exactly what to do. To immediately switch. Desperately try an Earthquake. Meta goes free. Miss, miss, miss. I mean, it is unlucky, but it's just the fact it can happen so easily, even after I set up. Did I show the? I showed the other dugong loss. I don't know if I shown this one. In many ways, it did. I think why doesn't really matter. I think maybe I shown this one. Yeah, crit. It's just tricky. It's really hard. Would Lelias plus Registeel work with different third mon? I think no. I think no. I think it just doesn't work. Like you could attempt to run mono attack Ments, Dragon Dance, Rest, Substitute, and Aerial Ace or Hidden Power Flying. The issue is that set also struggles a lot with sweeping a lot of enemies. Mono attack Ments, if you like, if Regirock comes, it's because Regirock is a problem. If Regirock psych ups the Dragon Dance boosts, you lose. But also, it's like you can't swap just because Regirock is sent out. So Registeel and Ments aren't a good combination because of the risk of second mon Regirock, which is likely. Ironically, the best third might be Latios. Probably is Latios. Latias, Registeel, Latios. I just don't think it's viable. I just don't think the whole team works. What about Jolteon 5? I don't know. Cripples Transcends. Like, obviously, in Gen 5 and above, it's about entrainment with Durant and Truant. The ability Truant. In Gen 4 specifically, it's mostly about Choice Scarf Trick, because Choice Scarf doesn't boost the attack power of the enemy. In Gen 3, Cripple as it exists is either Skarmbliss PP Stall or it's Choice Band Trick, which is... It's got issues, but Choice Band Trick is pretty good. You do need a Choice Band part of Choice Band Trick. That's quite an important aspect. So, like, I think... Like, this team and this team... They could have got 1k. There's no real barrier, I think. Like, this is essentially a slightly worse Gen 4 team, but obviously it's got Trick. This is a dramatically better team than the team that has 2.5 times as many wins as it. How did you lose? Dog Trio killed Lining on turn 1 with Fisher. Fair enough. And how did you lose? How do I speed up? So it's Snorlax. Yeah, I mean, you saw with the loss I had on the other team that Quick-Claw Snorlax is a menace for subtext stalling. You're pretty damn likely to be Quick-Clawed on the substitute turn at some point. You do have to lock it as well, because you can't let it just curse. Didn't actually get a quick claw yet. Okay. Nice crit. That's a very, very greedy double team instead of baton pass. Very, very greedy. I don't know about that. Okay, misplay then. Misplay, but an understandable loss. He stole the quick claw. Fair enough. With Thief Guard of War, right? It was extremely, extremely greedy to double team on that final turn against Mence, though. Because Mence against the Snorlax, though, because Mence could have taken it. Mence could have taken that hit. And yeah, I don't know. Hmm. A lot of these teams fear Snorlax. I guess the big unanswered question is because I think this is fake. I'm pretty damn sure this is fake, and I'm pretty damn sure this is fake because he did one run, he did one attempt. He said he did one attempt. This could easily be real. I don't know about these. Probably real. It's tricky because Jellal's a smart cheater in the sense that he definitely didn't cheat all of his records. I heavily suspect this is fake, given how well he plays in other YouTube videos. He's definitely capable of getting factory gold. This is probably fake as well. Yeah, I forgot about this one. I would bet against this being real. So there was a bit of a time in the palace where there was a like it does make a bit of sense that you cut some damaging moves so that the Pokemon are less likely to throw. So you just have Rock Slide and Earthquake. Milo is, I mean, maybe it's real because of Milo, but Leah Scizor is just such a meme. Like this is pseudo intellectual crap, right? This is just trying to be clever for the sake of clever, trying to have a support move for the sake of it. I really do not believe this streak, even though it's only, what was it, 77? Even though it's only 77, I don't believe it. I suspected he's safe stated. We know that Jellal uses emulator, and it's not to turn this into an anti-emulator fight, but obviously it's a lot easier to just quickly save state on an emulator when you're playing offline and there's nothing being recorded. That's a fact. I don't see a reason to. I mean, maybe it's fake. Who cares? It's the same there. I'm pretty sure Pike is fake because he plays so badly. The interesting thing about Jellal, which is really difficult to say, is that Jellal was famous for this. So, for some context, this was the first big world record, Latios Suicune Steelix in Gen 3. A DDD beat it with this run. Then Jellal beat that with this run. And then a DDD has this run. And actually, this hasn't lost yet. And there's also a Zarion streak somewhere around 2000. But this was world record at the time. And it's tricky because like this team kind of works. This is Water Steel Dragon, the classic claw, or Dragon Steel Water, whatever you want to call it. Like blah blah blah. Yeah, it starts off with the worst team, but then you realise that Swampert sucks and Metagross sucks. So you replace them. This is the Jumpman team that Jumpman talked about ages ago. Scizor sucks. Metagrow sucks. And like Steelix, it's not that it sucks, it's unreliable. What I don't like about this team is the Latios lead. Because so many things force out Latios if you're playing safely. And then we're Suicune that we've got no immunity to being frozen. Because, you know, I think it's fine that Latios takes Lum, but, you know, we're Suicune with no immunity to that. And then we've got Steelix. Steelix can obviously come in on Electric. And we have a number of good resistances. Like, this team is very good about switching. Latios has no Latios has no recovery, but that's fine. It can still kind of work. I'm not sure if this team is real. This streak is real, because the thing is, if you put this in the hands of a really, really good Gen 3 player, they are going to do very well with it. But they're going to do very well with it because it is a very, very complicated team to play perfectly. I really doubt that Jellal is capable of playing this perfectly, but what's tricky is it is kind of a good team. I think Zarion considerably upgraded it by dropping Steelix. And also, I think, you know, Zarion is a person to talk about this, but it's widely agreed now that Suicune should not be running Rest. And instead you should rely on the much better coverage, which is much better in clutch situations than Rest is. Even without Rest, Suicune can get a lot of PP stall action going anyway. And, you know, you basically watch Zarion play Tower. There's plenty of his VODs up on YouTube. And Twitch probably, so... Yeah, like, the battle's actually, like, this team's just a very complicated team to play. I think what makes me slightly suspicious is the fact that he kept Latios in the lead and the fact that he's just not a very good player. But that the streak might be real. I think it does matter if the streak is real, because if this is fake, then basically Jellal faked everything he did in Gen 3. Like, everything is fake. Everything that's important, everything that got him respected is fake. If this is not fake, it changes the dynamic slightly, where it's like, okay, so Jellal originally had the Tower World record, and maybe when it was beaten, he was, like, desperate to have something back. Like, he must know. Like, you might wonder, why didn't he just beat a DDD again if it's cheated? But I think he must know that this is suspicious, and people were testing his team out. And the bigger the number you claim, the riskier it is. Like, I think the Grumpig team with Regirock Sweep, I think will never, like, prove this is fake. Just because it's not a big enough streak, but to go over 2,000 with a team that fundamentally doesn't work would be outrageous. And I think, like, Jellal has only just escaped the allegations up until this point. Only just. Yeah, I think you need Ice Beam on Suicune, essentially, yeah. Because otherwise, you're too vulnerable on having Latios being the answer to too many Pokemon. And Latios itself is too vulnerable to being crit. Latios is a great Pokemon when it's outspeeding and one-shotting, but you often have to earn that. I just think it makes so much more sense to lead with Medicham. Choice Band Toxic is fine. Choice Band with a status move is actually quite common in Gen 3, due to how valuable having Choice Band as an option is. Yeah, this is the main question I've got, is, like, is this real? Specifically, Team Azure. I think in terms of next steps, I think what we need is more people need to playtest Jellal's team. I want to see people playtesting this specifically. I want to know if anyone gets past, like, 400. If someone could get 400, that would be quite significant. My biggest streak... What was my biggest streak? I got 160. Yeah, that was my biggest streak with this team. So 1/10 of that. And maybe I should have streamed. The reason why I didn't stream is because it's really tricky with public allegations, right? Like I've known that this is probably fake for ages. I didn't want to say it's fake until I played. But if I'm going to play it and not stream it, that's weird. But Smogon got really upset with me for streaming Battle Tower Proof in the past. Like in Gen 4. I don't know if some of the OGs may remember this. Where is it? Like, I was streaming this because I thought this might be fake. Like, Battle Arcade doubles without Focus Sash on level 1 Duskull. Is that really good enough? And, you know, competitive integrity. I tried my very, very best, and I got a streak of 100 and... Did I get 154 before quitting? I think I got 154, and then I just stopped. I didn't lose, I just stopped, because I said, okay, I've proven that it's definitely possible. But the moderators at Smogon were very, very unhappy with me streaming this and publicly announcing that I'm investigating the streak. So I did the opposite thing with Jellal, where I'm like, fine, I'm gonna hide the investigation until I'm pretty damn sure. But now I'm like, actually, I regret doing it because, like, I've shown all the losses from the save states, but I can't prove that I didn't play 3,000 games, right? And only have 23 losses. Like, I say that I played... I can say that I played 800 and... What was it? 832 or something. And I went 809 and 23. But, like, I can't prove that. I just say I did, and I recorded the losses. So, I don't know, I'm in two minds. Well, they were upset that... The party line was causing drama, right? I said, I'm causing drama by investigating whether or not streaks that have never been verified are actually true. A part of me wonders, do they want me to not play because they're worried about me playing their streaks and they are cheating and it's come out as fake or cheated? I think what really upset them is that, like, back when I was investigating TRE's streak in that streak I just talked about that I played on stream, I was also going after several other players on the forums who were also proven to be cheating. And I think the Smogon moderators didn't believe me at first, and then when they were outed as cheaters, suddenly they were very, very quiet. I didn't get apologized to. I did get... I know, I was DM'd. I was informed of what was said behind closed doors, which I won't share, but, you know, what was said behind closed doors did lead me to decide to split from Smogon. There's a complete loss of faith in their ability to run anything and their ability to be competitively unbiased, I would say. I also strongly believe that there are mods on Smogon who have cheated their streaks. Jellal, of course, would be one. There are more, but, you know, Jellal would definitely be the first one. Jellal is probably the easiest. This is probably the easiest one to prove is cheated because it's so outrageous. A very lucky streak with this team is a bit under 200, and he posted almost 2,000, which is insane. Yeah, no, it was interesting. I was talking a lot about... I talked a lot about how we should stream because it's 2025 or 2026 or whatever. And there were several mods who said, "Oh, well, we don't want to force people to stream because it's not newcomer friendly." And this is just very funny to me because all of the newcomers were really happy to stream. They didn't mind it at all. And I also kept saying, I don't care if, if these streaks aren't streamed, I don't care. Like, I don't think anyone cares. And these were definitely new players when they played them. It's fine. But it's like, this is a very big deal. And it would be nice to know it's legit. And if you're playing on emulator and it's easy to record, I think you should record. And I think refusing to record and trying to hide behind the accessibility argument is very suspicious in hindsight. I should have been more suspicious at the time. But yeah, there are a very large number of players who they don't play live, and then when you do ask them to play live, they can't play properly. And it's massively at odds with, like, the party line is that if you get a top record, you are a good player, or you at least are a careful player. You are capable of playing well. Anyway. I don't think everyone should stream. I think it's totally fine to be new and not stream, because you're not going to break the world record if you're new. No offense. The biggest outlier we've had recently of someone new coming in and getting a really good record was Zarian, but obviously Zarian's not really a new player. I don't know. Like, it's really weird, right? There's more. Like, one of the outrageous... While I'm burning the bridge slightly, one of the outrageous things that happened last year was this. There's this guy, Devons, right? People in LRX's community might know Devons. So Devons was starting to play Battletree. Okay, disclaimer, I'm not a Battletree player. I don't know the Battletree meta. Like, I know vaguely what's good and stuff. So he's using Gardevoir, Gliscor, and Toxapex. Like, Gliscor was very well known. Mega Gardevoir hadn't been used, but like every Mega is really good, right? And then Toxapex, you know, not widely used, but it's got Regenerator. It's a defensive Pokemon, it makes sense. So Devons was playing loads of Battletree, and he was live streaming it. And, you know, he got, what was his first streak? 561. And this hasn't been added. And it hasn't been added just because, like, they forgot. Like, it hasn't been added. Let me triple check that, actually. Maybe they updated it. I don't want to be wrong. No, it hasn't been added. So he posted that. Mary posted a few streaks. Some more streaks. But Devons kept playing. Devons was also active in various Discords at the time. No, this guy's... Oh, sorry. I saw Mega Gardevoir. I was like... So then he played again, and he got 1,600 wins. And again, this is being live streamed. Not fully live streamed, but what most people do, which is that once it's a big streak, they start live streaming it. And at this point, Devons had live streamed like 2,000 games of him playing this team. And it's difficult to like describe, but when you watch it, it's like it's obviously live because he makes small little mistakes, or he like misspeaks, or he checks something twice or something. But he was playing well. So he got 1,600. He posted it, and he changed out Ferrothorn. So he put Ferrothorn on the team, and it went more defensive. And he talks about the threats. And again, it's not a perfect write-up, but it is pretty good. He's got like different runs. He talks about close games he had. You got 1,600, and it still wasn't added. He was activated, like, and then, like, there was just nothing that was said, and then the streak just doesn't get listed. Altisvo asked why, and it said, "Oh, it's going to be added on Discord, but not here." And Eisenherz, what did he say? A more explicit role. Let me check again. Let me see exactly what he said. I just think it's outrageous that there's There's one streak in Gen 7 that is very trustworthy, and it's the one streak that didn't get added. And it's because like he wasn't like part of like the friendship group or whatever. I just can't think of a legitimate reason. So after this is, you got to remember, this is after Devon's posted. Streaks allowed on emulator are not currently allowed on a leaderboard as a unique status, i.e. speed up features, save states, modding possibilities, have been adequately safeguarded by the current rules. Now, to be fair to Eisen, that's a good point. You know, we do not want people save stating on emulator, just like we don't want people save stating on console, which is actually possible. And we don't want like people modding on emulator, just like we don't want people modding on console. It is easier to mod on emulator, but we don't want people doing either. But there's no safeguard against doing this on console. There's no safeguard against, you know, hacking your 3DS to play it sped up, or hacking your 3DS to have save states. This is an unbelievable rule. It's just so bizarre. And I must say, maybe you don't want to add emulator tails. Maybe you don't want to add emulator streaks that aren't streamed, which I think is fair enough. But Devon's was streaming his streak. Like it's just so obviously real. The nature of his losses as well is like it's like the most legit thing you can have. It's like almost okay. It could have been fully live streamed, and then that would have been better. But like almost perfect. This is an outrageous thing. It's also like I think if Smogon want to say this, it's fine. But this is only a rule for the battle tree. It's not a rule for the other facilities. And it just feels like they added this so they didn't have to add Devon's streak. And like Devon's didn't even get the record. And then it gets worse. It gets worse, right? Because, and again, this is not Eisen's fault. Like specifically, we're not blaming Eisen here. But if you have an ongoing streak in later gens, you have to update the thread. What is it? Every 6 months or something? Yeah. So if you don't post within 6 months of your last post, then it's ongoing. It's been closed. So Devon's posted 1,600. It wasn't added. No one responded to him. And then 6 months have passed since then. So this streak is now dead. He didn't lose, but like the streak doesn't count anymore. Even if they were to unban emulator again, he can't continue. He has to start again from 0 just because the mods didn't add him. This is ridiculous. The combination of refusing to acknowledge it and then waiting for 6 months to pass, the streak doesn't even count anymore. It's unbelievable. You know, Eisen has said there's plenty of things that Eisen have done which are much worse than this. I think this specifically is not something to freak out about, but like this is just the bizarre. Like, if we were being ultra strict, if the leaderboards were ultra strict, maybe you could get away with this. But you know, if you scroll down to some of these streaks, you know, who believes the top 10 streaks are all real? There's at least 3 streaks there that I don't believe. I'm not going to say which ones, but there are at least 3. And this is an opinion I know is held by other top players, that there are 3 streaks in these top 10 that are also very suspicious. And it's the same with doubles. We look at the top 10 in doubles, like, do we believe all these streaks are real? I don't think we're being that strict. Like, there's most of these streaks, like, I don't want to pick on anyone. Let's click sadistic. We're not picking on anyone in particular here. So, set, some sentences, some paragraphs, there's quite a few battle videos actually, which is good. But like 4 battle videos, a photo, some paragraphs. It's typical. A lot of streaks like this. It's typical. Devon's was dramatically more forthcoming with being as transparent as possible, and Devon's hasn't been added. I don't know. I worry that, like, my concern, I don't have a problem with like the concept of having a leaderboard that allows limited proof, I think is fine, because there will be people who can't stream or for whatever reason just refuse to stream, and it's good that they have somewhere to post. But I just think if you have nothing to hide, like if you're legit and streaming, mic off, everything off, just the game, if that doesn't bother you, just stream, because the chance of you being under fire, like I know they heavily, like Devon's was heavily suspected to be cheating. Don't ask me how or why, but they did not believe Devon's, and I'm not sure how much of it was the fact that he was on emulator. I'm not sure how much of it was the fact that he was willing to stream and they didn't like streamers. I don't know. I just don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, this was bad. What else is bad? I think most of it is. This is a hilarious streak, actually. This is really funny. I played a bit of Gen 5 recently. I can talk about this slightly. This is an absolutely hilarious streak where we've got Shuckle with power split lead. Like, okay, it's not a bad idea. Obviously, there's a lot of things that make this not work. Then we've got a Memento Gastrodon. So you've got two extremely slow Cripplers, and then we've just got Ferrothorn. The Ferrothorn is just sweeping with Power Whip and Go-Ball, and Power Whip's inaccurate. It's just so funny to, like, I'll be honest, I don't think anyone thinks this streak is real. This is definitely only added because Peteco was so lax with the rules. I'm just thinking back to the streak that Jellal rejected because Blaziken had overheats, and I'm like, what would Jellal have said about this? We've got 462 in a harder gen with this thing. Oh, this is just such a joke. I don't know. That's probably the worst in terms of, like, obviously fake. It actually is. You know what? Actually, Jellal's streak might be worse than that, actually, because when you really think about it, it might be worse. Because if you locked me in a room for a decade and asked me to get 462 of this team or 1,600 of Jellal's team, I would be dramatically more likely to do it with this team. I am certain. It's not because this team is good. I just know it's more likely. Yeah, it's not perfect. Like, I found this is also a bit weird. Battle Subway doubles I need to play a lot more, I think. I wasn't highlighting that streak specifically, I was just using my mouse randomly. Another one is another one I had is this. So a lot of people ask about BDSP. And they understand that in BDSP you can't just use trick, because it doesn't work. They updated the AI, whatever. But this is the top team from BDSP. It's obviously a trick team. And it's not that I don't believe it. I'm really, really curious. Because to get 1,000 wins with this team, you have to really, really know when trick does and doesn't work. And Sero doesn't have to... That's the wrong one. Sero doesn't have to share exactly how it works. But he's just so vague about it. Like, he says, oh, you have to be careful about what you trick. I'm like, okay, but what do you trick? Like, it's like saying, oh yeah, you know, quantum mechanics is hard. Okay, what? But how do you do it then? That's another one that stands out to me when I think about it. It's not that I don't believe it. It's just the lack of, because there's no footage of it. it's because there's no footage of it, and the write up isn't very good, basically. And it doesn't have to be good. It's, you know, if Sarah wants to keep his secrets, fair enough, because he wants to have number one. But it's a weird one. There's race 100, yeah. What I wish we could do, I wish we could just have I wish we could have offline recordings, and that's good enough. Because unfortunately, like, you know, I'm not calling out Sarah here. I'm not. But was this live streamed? No, it's not. Actually, it's not even a footage of him playing. It's just the pre-recorded stuff. Unfortunately, is really bad proof. Because the most infamous cheater in Frontier history did a thing where he played to. What did he do? He played 100 games at a time in sections of videos, and obviously the only way it's real is he was save stating between videos. So you go to 100, you save state, and then you try and play to 200. If you lose, save state, load a save state back to 100 and start filming again. And if you win, you save that video and you post it. At least requiring video proof forces the cheaters to play that many games. Like, it would be amazingly funny if we could get this guy to play 462 games with this team. That would be incredibly funny to watch. But it doesn't completely stop cheating, unfortunately. Reggie Don's. I can't believe the Gastrodon. I forgot how. I've forgotten how I had slow Gastrodon. Oh, this guy also had another really bad. I think he had a bad streak in Gen 4, right? That was removed. Don't hate me for this, CISO, if it is there. Oh no, it's fat here, but this is a this is a crazy one. I can't. This is a really funny one as well. To be clear, 560 is a lot. Okay, that's a lot. I've done a lot of runs with much better teams that didn't get to 560. This is a Trick Scarf Latias with Stealth Rock Yawn Empoleon. And then it's just Mence. Oh my god. And Mence has no recovery, it's just DD sub Mence. It's just so, it's so bad. Because, like, here's a basic thing, like, let's not even imagine the worst case scenario, right? Let's just say Latias tricks something into, like, I don't know, Shadow Ball, Crunch, whatever. So trick into that, then they outspeed. This is a slow Latias set. It probably needs to be the 158 variant, to be honest. We probably need to be outspeeding the 105 base crew, which are base 85s. Okay, so we trick, and then we die. Okay, so they're locked. Empoleon comes in. I guess Empoleon tries to rest loop, but Empoleon's not really bulky enough to do that against, you know, multiple defense drops or special defense drops. Even if it is, okay, fine, we PP stall them, and then what? We switch to Mence on the struggle. And we just DD and sub. It's a bit like having Garchomp, except we get attack boost way slower. And, like, we're just super, super screwed. Like, everyone who's used Garchomp or seen Garchomp knows that while Garchomp is very good on trick teams, you do sometimes get screwed over by, like, struggle crits and so on. Like, this is such a funny team. Like, there's no way this is real. There's no way. A lot of people who are new to the Frontier, they like to run Stealth Rock because the idea is like, oh, I'll remove Focus Sash. And Focus Sash can be annoying when you sweep, but it's dramatically less annoying than just losing. And this is almost an entirely wasted team slot. I guess you can yawn. Yeah, I don't know. I think, honestly, like, if this was just a Memento user, maybe be more believable. But it's also just like, what do you do against like Medigos 4? Because it just, what happens if Medigos 4 just like. Because Medigos 4 will outspeed. This isn't even 136. Medigos 4 is faster after Trick. Like, Empoleon can stall out Meteor Mashes, but it's going to get attack boosts. I guess you time the Yawn for, like, Death, but then you can only get +1 guaranteed. Oh, it's just so... Like, how is this meant to work, dude? And he didn't even have... Like, this is all on console. He didn't have time to do, like, loads of attempts. Don't hate me, CISO. I don't think it has to be removed because it's only number 7, but it's like it's quite funny that it's on there. I don't think there's anything else that's like massively bad. Like I have my hesitations about this, but that's nowhere near in the same ballpark as Jellal. I also think this is a lot, but again, nowhere near Jellal. And Boza and Dr. D, you could say maybe they played a lot, and they did say they played a lot, and that could maybe explain the luck. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no T-Wave. I mean, there's a lot of things that this team just instantly loses to, right? Like, what do you do against a U-turn crew? What do you do against like Yanmega? Unknown Yanmega on turn 1. Ooh. This is not bulky enough. That's the problem. Empoleon seems like a cool mon, but it's just not bulky enough. Anyway, I think enough. You're proud of me. Yeah, I think I've made my case. We got sidetracked at the end. I do think Jellal faked at least this run, probably multiple. I think there's a lot to answer for. He's not active anymore, which makes this a bit more awkward, but like the fact that he isn't active and some of his friends are mods, it should not save him. This should be removed. And lying to the community for years, cheating to get on multiple leaderboards, cheating to get the world record, and posting about the team that doesn't work. I do think that is the worst thing you can do in the community. I think it's unforgivable, really. That's my opinion. And unfortunately, probably need to review all the decisions that Jellal made that were permanent, including the people he banned from the leaderboard. Although they've probably left Smogon and they're probably never coming back. And I'm sure there were a lot of streaks that Jellal added which are dodgy, because given how bad he was playing, I really doubt that he can correctly analyze the plays of other suspicious streaks. And that isn't anything in particular. I just think there's a lot of streaks that probably need to be looked at again, which is a lot of work. And it's just really, yeah, I don't know. Valentino's leaving, I think. He posted about that on the forums. It's horrible to moderate the that's the issue with Smogon, actually. It's horrible to moderate them. I do appreciate that. No one wants to do it. I just think that this is like, it's so unforgivable because he was cheating himself, cheating for records. He protected Santana. He definitely protected Santana. And I know they're both South American and they were friends, but like, he was covering for Santana 100%. And what I'm not sure about is if anyone was covering for him. That's what I would want to know, but we're never going to hear that. We have a new leaderboard, Ben. It's in Discord. We do need to make it public. And make the submission form public. That streak, like, the leaderboard we're going to make we are making. We will include the old records we think are sufficiently trustworthy. So, for example, in Gen 3 Tower, for example, we will add a DDD streak, unless something comes up. I really doubt it. We'll be adding this streak and this one. And then past that, like, it's top 3, probably don't care. And in Dome, of course, we add a DDD streak. It's not here. In Factory, we'll add Wildcat and Goomer streaks, even though they weren't fully live streamed. It is there, okay. Yeah. And LOXCs, because it's not listed yet. Palace is a tricky one to figure out. This will be added, because it was live streamed. There's no surviving VODs, but it was live streamed. This will be added as well. In general, we trust subments. I've broken this record, so it probably doesn't need to be added. Honestly, I don't know anything about Pyramid, high-level Pyramid. We trust Sealy. I guess this is also legit, right? No reason to question this. Yeah, we'll probably add those. So, yeah, the trustworthy streaks that weren't live streamed, they'll be added under a special category. Where, like, so basically, like, if someone gets 2,000 in Tower, they will be listed below a DDD on the leaderboard, but they'll have rank 1 because they are the top ranked fully live stream streak, if that makes sense. And then, like, if like more than 3 people beat this record, we'll just remove it, because once it's out of the top 3, we probably won't include it anymore because it's just not as relevant. I don't think that will happen to a DDD streak in Tower, but it might happen to some of the other streaks. It probably won't happen in Dome. It probably won't happen in Factory. But it might happen in, like, Palace, and it probably won't happen in Arena, actually. It might happen in Pike. I don't know. Like, if the record is streamed, we will probably not include the non-streamed records. That's what I'm thinking. But we kind of need the old records because it just doesn't feel right to, like, get rid of them. I don't know. I don't think Iridescence will be. Yeah, maybe over 10 years it will be beaten, but not in the short term. It's pretty damn safe, just because it's like 500 hours of grinding. There's also some, like, weird ones, like one of these is live streamed. I forgot which one Jason live streamed. One of these is live streamed, but I don't think he saved the VOD. So he probably won't add it. This is also a weird one, actually, while I'm here. I found this streak really odd. Like, on the surface it looks fine because it's Latias, Swampert, Snorlax, and Latios, which are really good Pokemon, obviously, but draw the veil back. This is a Screens Latias with Cherry Berry, Mono Attack, Psychic, and Toxic. And this is well before the Doubles Guts glitch was understood. Like, it's probably possible. You would need to be a very good player to get this, though. This guy's posted, like, twice, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then he got 888 with Rain and Gen 4, which is a lot better than anyone else has ever done. And it's a slightly weird team again. I don't think it's necessarily fake. It's just I don't know if I trust this enough to put this on the leaderboard, basically, as an example. Yeah, 1001 is live stream, that's it. Yeah. That was Gen 4, the Rain team, but, like, Gen 3 leading with Screens, I just... Something about this... So, I guess the criticism we have of most cheaters, and it is quite a common thing, is that a lot of cheaters like to LARP. This feels a bit like LARPing to me, where yeah, this would be a good team in like VGC if we had VGC in Gen 3. 4v4 doubles. Like with screens, and then you have the backups. But this is so contrary to what I believe works well in actual doubles in Gen 3, which is to kill things incredibly quickly. And to switch around known bulk things, and this team doesn't really do that because we don't have a steal in the back. Like, we don't have a switch in for... I don't think it's... I just don't really think it works. And a lot of what Jellal posts as well, I feel like is LARPing. It's like, this is like... It's almost like it's AI slop, right? There's like the AI slop version of the really good write-ups that a DDD has done in the past. Yeah, like, light screen makes sense if you don't mind accepting a few losses to crits. It's also doubles like team, like it's not as powerful as you think it is. No, like a lot of it is I think a lot of cheating is LARPing basically. People who want to get praised, or people who want to have everyone say how great they are. I think this is fake. It's my opinion. I don't think my opinion will be shifted unless someone comfortably breaks 400 with this team. Anyway. I think it would be fine if it was just a one-off light screen. I think it would be fine. It's just, well, first up, I will say that, where is it? Like 800 is too much to just be like a lucky run. Like, this has to work. This has to work very consistently. 800 is a lot in doubles. We're not just like randomly throwing light screen on as a fourth move. Like, we're all in. We're fully defensive. We're not even running timid, which I think is a mistake. We're fully defensive. We're all in basically on getting screens and support. Like, Psychic isn't good. Like, anti-fighting and stuff. I just don't really believe in this. This thing is good, but like, how often does Latias have to switch into Metagross is my question. Because if it does that and you're locked into Earthquake, that's very awkward. I feel like this must be a common switch. Because we are running Thick Fat. I think having Latios and Latias on the same team is fine. We're also modest. Yeah. We're not timid. I'm not so sure, you know. The issue is, this guy's never gonna post about it again, right? He's been inactive for over 3 years, so we're never gonna get a response out of this guy. He's never gonna attempt the streak again. We're just left with this. If a very good doubles player plays this, they might be able to get 800. Strategy threats. Like, this is just sludge, right? We're not actually saying anything. This is too common where, I don't know, I think the quality of write-ups is so low. We're not even identifying what the actual problems of the team are. We're just talking about how doubles is hard to play, and like, you try and play around it, and you try and use these moves roughly a third of the time each, and steel types are awkward, duh. Particularly when you can't just Earthquake them. I don't know. What about getting off with Giga Drain? Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe he switches out of Gengar. Gengar comes on the other side. Maybe you just Psychic Kick and switch to Snorlax. And you pray it's not Gengar 1 or 2. Having Lumberry in the back feels weird. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just weird because, for those of you who don't know, Thunder Wave is incredibly common in the Frontier. And they love spamming it when you're faster than them. And Lumberry in the front is a very good way of basically starting off the game with like half a free turn. Sometimes an entire free turn. I mean, yes, we have Lumberry, we have Cherryberry for Thunderwave, but we don't have any tech against like Hypnosis, Confuse Ray, Ice Beam Freeze. This is just a very slow lead duo as well. I don't know. I'm going to call it there. I've made my point. I'm going to make a channel in Discord for discussing specifically the Jellal streak. I'm very open to being wrong. I hope I'm wrong about this. But it would take an extraordinary amount of evidence to, I think, disprove it. At the very least, it's extremely suspicious. I just don't think. I don't know. I don't think your lead Lati should be Cherry instead of Lum. Like this team was live streamed to 1K. It is on the surface it's similar, but you know, Tauros is much better lead duo. We're running Timid Jolly. And Latios has this outspeed. Because it's a speed tie between these two if you don't adjust it. And Swampert can use Earthquake way more often. I don't know. I think what is possible in Gen 3 doubles, we're getting off topic here, but for a long time we thought that we had to use Haze to outplay certain endgames versus double team opponents in Curse. So Haze or Perishong. But I think actually with the introduction of not the introduction even. With the doubles guts glitch, you maybe just get away with running Toxic or T-Wave. As long as you are very certain that the Pokemon immune to it aren't going to be a problem. So Toxic wouldn't work if you're scared of Snorlax, for example. But also, if you're running Latios in the start, you just kill more enemies. Because you're running a timid max special attack Latios. Like, more things just die. I would say it's... Like, obviously you have the Swampert outspeeds are significant, but this is not a slow... This is not a fast Swampert, this is a slow Swampert. I would say it's quite common for both enemy leads to survive turn 1 in a way that they get to use their move. That's my opinion. I think there are a lot of silly teams you could run in Gen 3 doubles. I'm not saying it's easy, but, you know, you could probably run Monotype Psychic and get quite far. Monotype Dragon. I think both of those could probably do 200. It would be worse than running a no limitation team, definitely, but Latias and Latios are both excellent in doubles. I also think more people should try the Earthquake on them as well, because even without investment, even if you run Timid, Earthquake is still a very useful move to run in Gen 3. I don't know. This is the big thing, though. I just think this needs to be removed. For the sake of people who come here looking for teams to copy, and for the sake of the leaderboard remaining fair, this needs to be gone. Like, even if we think Jellal isn't definitely a cheater, this streak specifically should be removed with the with the benefit of the doubt being gone on it. I think it should be removed. I think the question is whether or not we think he's definitely a cheater, and not the question of whether or not this streak should be on the leaderboard, because it should not. That's my opinion. But I have no power on Smogon at all. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I've used up all my voice. Well, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.